Welcome back to Factory Sealed. It is April 5th, 2020. My name is Eric Peters, and joining me today, Mr. Tom Reagan.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hey, Tom.
Hey.
We got Mr. Dan Curtis.
Feck off.
And Mike Tyson.
I'm not crying, you are. The end of that last show. Oh, he got me. Oh.
Still weeping, huh?
Oh, still weeping. I'm not going to tell you from which eyes, but I'm still weeping.
Oh. Eyes? Plural down there?
Well, not down there. I've got two at the top, one at the bottom, one at the back.
So from your left eye and the one down there?
Brown eye of the storm.
Well, we've started off well.
Quick note.
Yeah, I was trying to be nice about the last show, and Eric started talking about eyes.
Well, you brought it up.
You said you had more than two.
I do.
Well, there you go. That's where we had to dig into that one.
Well, there we go. Well, I didn't say more. I just said plural, and you said you've got more than... Oh, shut up, everyone. That's it.
You know who you're talking to, right?
Yeah. Eric had a note. What was it? A sharp?
Yeah, real quick, before we get into anything too stupid, episode 200, if you downloaded the original copy of it and it stopped at 2 hours, 45 minutes or something like that, just re-download it. There was an issue with it.
Eric is the issue.
No, the issue is that the show was too damn long. And the file size was too damn large. And when I uploaded it, it didn't give me a warning. So I had to go back in and upload a smaller version of it.
I'm sure when we swapped over to this new thing, you said we got unlimited file size.
We do. It's just that I processed it at 196 kilobytes per second, which is really, really high quality. And it
sounds like bullshit.
It was like a 600 megabyte file when most of our shows are about 145.
Shh! Don't expose the business. Jesus.
The business?
They're giving away our figures.
Get up out my business, my business.
Next, you'll be telling them about the 8 listeners we have.
We appreciate every single one of those listeners.
4 of them are us.
And we don't appreciate those 4.
And the 5th is Hazel.
Those guys are dicks.
And the other 4 are our partners.
No, Christy doesn't listen to the show. Can you believe this? 200 episodes in, hasn't listened to one.
Are you fucking kidding?
Not one.
So she doesn't have a clue what this fucking shit show is.
Yeah, not one. I think the closest she got to listening to a show was our live show that we did in our living room, and she had nowhere else to go.
I would love to know what she thinks we actually talk about. I wonder if she thinks it's a professional, like, polished...
Oh, I don't think she has any illusions about that. She knows who we are.
Not only has she met this man, she married him. So she knows.
God, yeah. Who's the biggest idiot in that relationship?
Quite a catch, huh?
Watch this be the first show that Christy listens to, and here I am calling her an idiot. I don't mean it, Christy, if you are listening.
Christy, listen to the show today.
Okay. She comes in with breakfast just at the right time.
She actually asked me if I wanted any French toast. I said, nah.
Why would you ever say no to that?
He's not hungry.
I'm watching my quarantine figure.
Watching it do what?
Quarantine.
Jiggle. I don't know. Somehow, stuck in this quarantine, I haven't managed to gain a single pound.
Yeah, that'll happen when you only consume 10 calories a day through coffee.
And I burn 3,000 through stress.
Exactly. I was saying that vanilla cream is quite calorific, so I suppose you get some calories in there. Yeah.
Oh boy. I think it's like 70 calories per half tablespoon or something like that. And I put like 6 tablespoons in there.
I've never measured it. Just like pour half the bottle in.
There we go.
Bish, bash, bosh. Done.
Oh shit. My coffee's white today. Oh well.
If your coffee's white, the fish don't bite.
Is that an old Tyson lore?
Yeah.
You don't look like a fisherman.
When you visit Tice Rim, that's what you get. Sea shanties about fish not biting in white coffee.
Tice Rim. I used to be a trucker like you. Then I took an arrow to the knee.
Then I took an arrow and got stationary.
Oh, God.
There used to be loads of people around these parts, but they're all inside playing Stadia now.
Oh, the Stadia voice.
Stadia has taken a back seat this week, I tell you. Fortunately, the games I've been playing don't appear on Stadia.
How's
Is
everybody?
that a tenuous link to something you want to talk about, Mike?
Yeah, Minesweeper.
Ah.
I want to talk about Tom's 14 days being stuck inside. Because you were government mandated to be inside.
Yeah. I had a little note from the Canadian border. Hey, stay inside 14 days. Don't leave. And I was like, yeah, okay. I mean, it wasn't like enforced. Like if I went outside and I did go for a little walk down by the lake. But, you know,
did Cat come
They
with you?
sounded awfully American redneck for the Canadian government, by the way.
Hey, anyone with that accent just automatically gets the southern treatment.
It's the easiest to flip in and out of.
It is. But yeah, that was a bit weird. It was fine. I had plenty to do with work and then, games to play in the evening. Just chilling out.
14 days, Jesus.
But 14 days was a lot of time to not go to any stores, go to do anything, see anybody. Like it was like getting off the plane and they're like, all right, you gotta go to prison now. You've been extradited from the US.
So how have you guys been getting food then? Have you had neighbours delivering shit? Or?
Well, you remember when I was in America and Kat spent like $600
Oh, yeah.
on food? That is how. And then we got a fresh food top up from one of Kat's friends. Like she took an Uber here and dropped some groceries at our doorstep and then left.
Scarpered.
Just slide some cash under the door for her.
Just scarpered away,
Basically.
arms flailing like Kermit the Frog.
Leave it at the door and back away.
It was weird,
Saying
man.
that, we ordered a Domino's yesterday, and the guy came to the door, and like he was still stood away from my door, and he was just like, "I can't hand this to you," and he literally had to like get me to step back, put it down on my carpet, and they brought an extra pizza box to put underneath, like a brown one that's not like Domino's labeled, so that obviously they're cheaper, and then rested it on the carpet just through my front door for me to then pick up. He wasn't allowed to literally hand me the pizzas.
That's so strange, right? Because I got a Domino's last week and he just handed me it.
Didn't get the memo and hat.
Apparently not.
Well, yeah, Domino's here actually they advertise contactless delivery now.
Yeah, that's
they
what
do,
they're doing
but
here.
he didn't bother. So
Yeah, fuck it. I don't care. My life sucks. Kill me.
That's just out that delivery driver, will you, Daniel? There you go.
Fuck it, my life.
What if one of these 8 listeners knows that Domino's guy?
Yes.
what, the Domino's guy who I have not named?
Well, I can't imagine Het has too many Domino's delivery guys.
You just said he was a guy. That narrows it down.
Several things, right? 1, I used to work for Domino's and they kept that shit on record. 2, you live in Het. How many people in Het are getting Domino's delivered?
How many people in Het listen to this?
How many people in Het?
How many people in Het know the technology exists?
What a pizza
Nobody.
is.
That's who.
Cheese and tomato on door? What is this? Fucking madness. I don't know why the people in Het are from Yorkshire, but...
All right, let's go with that. It's funnier. Oh, dear. Yeah, it was
Since living in Yorkshire, the Yorkshire accent seems to be my go-to for mocking people, which is probably really dangerous for living in a county full of Yorkshire people.
No wonder they're all grumpy with you, Mike.
Yeah.
It is quite an amusing accent, to be fair. Says me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I prefer the Geordie accent. That one's more amusing.
I actually remember, so our office, like where you get like your paperwork from and everything, is like separated by just like sort of plastic glass kind of thing, and you hand this stuff through like a little flap. and it's difficult to hear him at the best of times because of all the like lorries and stuff outside. And the guy was the guy gives me my work and stuff. He was trying to tell me something. I was like, "Oh, you lot," like jokingly, "Oh, you lot with your wacky Yorkshire accents," and like they all just kind of looked at me and kind of awkwardly laughed, like, "Ha ha ha!" This guy
Who hired this asshole?
Do you need to be given work to be told to sit in a lorry?
You are?
Do you need to be given work to be told to sit in a lorry?
Yeah, I need to be told where I'm not going.
Oh.
Don't go here today. Done.
Where else am I going to how else am I going to program it into my sat nav to see like the time ticking by of what time I should be there? Oh, if I left now, I'll be there by 9 o'clock.
Nah.
Dan, how's working from home going for you?
Oh, it's shite, mate. I hate it.
Yeah, right.
I honestly do. I really can't stand it.
No
It does me head
way.
in.
No way.
I just don't have the diligence to actually do it. So that's part of the problem. Yes, it's nice to have the freedom and stuff, but actually doing work, it's hard to do.
Oh man, I couldn't do anything else.
Are you just letting work back up then, Daniel, or are you actually getting it done?
Well, there's not actually that much to do, really, because for a college that is currently shut, trying to market it, it's a bit difficult, really. So I'm just kind of doing things as and when they come in. We've got some new videos. We've got some new videos to edit and stuff. So
I like it, but I prefer a bit more of a balance. I'd like to go into the office a couple of times a week just to.
yeah, I think I could do that.
Not me.
Yeah, but Eric, you're like on the road and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
You at least go and see people.
That's
Whereas
true.
if I worked from home, I would literally just be in this room 20 for the whole fucking week.
Well, you could go work at a coffee shop.
Pretty much
Tom,
what
that-
I've done. So
What'd you say, Mike?
You mentioned last time that being quarantined, life hasn't changed that much. I've noticed that during the week. I mean, I'm still working anyway, but I'm just still going out to work as normal, then coming home and then not really doing much once I get home. So it's only the weekends really where I realise that, oh shit, things have changed a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
it's just surreal going to like the shops and having to queue outside and wait to go in, and then like when you're inside, everybody looks at you like you're a leper. And
Yeah, nobody wants to say
it's
hi to
just-
you, or if you accidentally like
No.
get too close to somebody in an aisle, they look at you like,
Yes.
ugh.
That's what it's like in England all the time, Eric.
It's funny because I was looking at the tuna and I wanted a specific tuna, and I was stood and the guy next to me, he was looking at the tuna, and we were both looking at each other like, well, who's going to go for the tuna first? Like, it was really odd. He wouldn't I wanted to get close to read the cans, but he was too close and he needed to stay away from it. We were trying to keep this 2 meters distance, and it just wasn't.
I was at.
So you're telling me that Kat didn't buy 30 cans of tuna in that $600 shop?
Right.
I was at
did.
Joann's the other day picking up some fabric, and I wanted to get something down one of the aisles, and I did that whole thing where it's like, okay, that lady's in front of where I want to be, so I'm going to pretend to be interested in something over here until she
that's
moves.
a British way of shopping.
Yeah, that is the British way.
That really is. That's 100% my life. I'm just going to pretend that I needed to be here anyway because it's too awkward for me to stand here looking at the other person.
To
What
put
you
this
could
into
have done, Eric,
context,
is looked at your watch and then turned in the opposite direction.
Yes.
Or pull out my phone. I'm
that-
like, oh shit, I have a phone call.
Yeah.
the problem is, Eric, like this is how awkward we are as a nation, as English people. Like you're getting the experience of an English shopping trip now, but in that exact situation, the problem is if you went in there, if there wasn't the whole social distancing thing and everything was normal, the problem is like if you went in there to grab something around her, she would then later on go to people or people with her. Oh, he just couldn't wait for me to get out of the way. Could he? Just couldn't wait. And that's just, that's what we fear, that people will talk about us behind their back like that.
Like, we don't care over here. Have at it. I hope on the topic of your dinner conversation tonight.
This is why I hate like going to like Christmas markets and stuff, because there's always a pleb in front of you who will not move and you can't look at anything.
How
And it
about
just does me
queuing for
head in.
windows? Is that different?
Yeah, it is. But now you've got to queue 2 meters apart. So we're hoping by Christmas that this will all have blown over so we can all see the window again.
Well, is the window classed as like going out for an essential thing?
It is
Yes.
essential for the mental well-being of Northern England.
Oh dear.
How essential? Will the north of England not cope without this window?
I don't think it would.
What will happen?
I don't know. Probably self-combust or something.
Can you still go and see the Angel of the North? Can you still go and see that?
I don't know, actually. I've never ever been myself.
Dan, how's the tourist market in Het? Because you guys could open up your own Het window.
Well, we had 2 swans move in.
Oh, shit. Did they just bully the ducks out of the pond?
Yes, they did. Poor Cecil the duck has had to move slightly to the left out of the way, and now there are 2 swans.
Are you making that a catchphrase? Because
He loves it. Slightly to the left.
I can't believe you haven't been to the Angel of the North, Dan.
It's a rubbish, Tom.
It's cool.
What is it?
It's
a big thing in the like vague shape of an angel, which is made with hideous rusted metal.
What shape?
It's cool.
it's supposed to be like an angel, but it looks like a guy who's got airplane wings for arms.
There you go.
Jesus Christ. Is that the Wright brothers' first plane?
Yes, they turned one of them giant and just fused wings to him after he died.
It's 66 feet tall and 177 feet across.
And it's
Do
still
you want that
shiny.
in Celsius?
And nobody knows where it came from.
I've driven past it. It's big enough. You can see it over the trees and stuff.
Is it made of wood?
Or was I just looking at my phone whilst just sat there not going anywhere? I'm not sure.
Oh, steel, there it is.
I shouldn't really be trying to sell it to you. We stay indoors.
Tom, we're going to come over a couple days early for the wedding. If it's still happening, I'm going to go see the Angel of the North.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Worth it. Then you can say you've done more stuff in the North than Dan.
God. Yeah.
Yep, I've only visited 1 tourist attraction throughout my entire life, and that is Fenix Window.
Eric just standing below the Angel of the North. Dan says you're shite.
Did I tell you about what you guys what Greg's did in Fenix Window last year at Christmas? It was either the last Christmas or the Christmas before.
What did they do?
Because most of the Northeast flocks to Fenix Window to see the Christmassy delights, Greg's decided, because they are opposite Fenix Window, to reflect their logo. So they actually mirrored the logo on Greg's so that you could read Greg's in Fenix Window.
Brilliant.
That's amazing.
What a dick move. What assholes.
I don't know. I kind of like it. I think it's a great
it's
move.
genius.
Whoever's great, I like it. But
Whoever came up with that needs a
what
raise.
a dick move.
It is.
Oh, Greg's
It's some
marketing
corporate
department
branding.
is on fire, man. Did you not hear about when they put a sausage roll in a manger and stuff at Christmas?
I did hear about that.
It's like
Lots of controversy, but probably sold a hell of a lot of sausage rolls.
They're an interesting brand. Oh, Greg's.
They had a great theme song, too.
Go to Greg's.
Go to Greg's.
Christ.
Go to Greg's. Go to.
I remember after Hazel heard that episode, she came to me and she was just like, what is this Greg's shit?
It's a bakery, Mike. Have you never taken it?
Oh, we've been to Greg's.
You guys didn't take me to Greg's. I could have gone for a cheeky Greg's.
No, you don't say cheeky Greg's. That's cheeky Nando's.
Did Tom freeze in a serial killer pose for anybody else?
Oh,
Yes.
no. He looks like the Joker.
Tom would
Yeah,
make a good
snapshot.
Joker, actually.
No, I didn't freeze, did I?
Yeah,
Yes, you have. And now it's even creepier because your voice is coming out of it.
You would make a good Joker, actually, Tom.
Thank you. I think.
That's supposed to be a compliment, isn't it? Oh, he's gone now.
Bye,
That's
Tom.
it, you've upset him, everyone.
It wouldn't be a factory sales episode without Tom dropping out occasionally.
Yeah, that happens, doesn't it? Get annoying.
Says the man who just lost complete power to his house on one episode.
Go on without
No,
me,
hey,
guys. The
I
whole
didn't-
street's
I didn't
down.
even live in Het then. I was meant to be in civilization.
Hey, that was before you moved to Het.
It was. It was pity me.
We did pity
about
you.
pity me. I forgot that you lived in Pity Me.
With the old road through the house. Remember that? Classic.
Yeah, I do. Fun times.
I'm sure we had a guest on that episode as well.
Yeah, that's when we had Will. Was it Will O'Neill or was that 8-Bit Baby?
It was 8-Bit Baby for that one.
Shaquille O'Neal.
I wish. We need to get another special guest.
Let's find out what Shaq thinks about Half-Life. Get him on.
I was too tall to sit at a desk to play it. That's what it'd say.
Why does Shaq still sound like he's from Yorkshire?
I don't know. Everyone's from Yorkshire. What can I say? I think this is a thing from when I was growing up, because for some reason, whenever we used to like mock my mum, we'd give her a Yorkshire accent. I'm actually either of our parents just kind of give them a Yorkshire accent. This is despite the fact neither of them are from Yorkshire.
Kind of the same here, though.
It's weird. I also default to the Yorkshire when I mock you about Stadia, so it's catching.
Well, why mock me about Stadia? Stadia is wonderful.
Is it shite?
Exactly. I agree. What was your default, Eric, for mocking people? Is it Yorkshire as well?
No, yes, it is Yorkshire. Big Yorkshire population.
Can you do a Yorkshire accent?
No.
Oh, please do a Yorkshire accent.
I don't even know what to say. All I would do is dance little Stadia.
You need to say
E-bagum.
E-bagum.
Give us a bread cake.
What?
Give us a bread cake.
Give us a bread cake?
That's Geordie. /Indian.
Isn't the Geordie population mostly transplanted from India?
No, actually, no.
No. What is e-bagum?
Oh, rally ho.
E-bagum?
Is that what Dan said? He's like, say e-bagum.
No, e-by-gum.
Oh. It's like e-bagum, like digitally put things in a bag. E-bagum.
Oh, God, he's still talking about sealing things. We just want you to do a Yorkshire accent.
I can't.
Oh, Rick, you do make me laugh.
No, here you just default everything to the southern accent.
Is that's where Tom's got it from then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you physically spoken to anyone but Kat for the past 14 days?
Only on work calls. It's just not the same.
Didn't you get out on the balcony and yell at people for a while?
I've been out on the balcony once, but no one else comes out. You know, I'm yelling the odds and no one comes out.
Are you not playing any music?
Kingdom
out
Hearts
you need to start jamming or singing, Tom, and then people will join you. That's what happens.
like on the balconies in Spain and Italy and stuff.
I
get the DJ decks out. Yeah, relive your glory days.
I know. Well, I could hope for some interaction, possibly negative, if I walked out there with an acoustic guitar.
They show these news stories of these neighborhoods that put on like 5:30 dance parties where everybody stands in their driveway and dances. I'd be the one neighbor in the back where like, shut the fuck up!
There's this little compilation video someone's made because there's like obviously in Italy and Spain and everything where all the apartments are and stuff, they're all like playing guitar and playing keyboard and stuff to each other and things like that. And someone's put a compilation of them all being like, you know, having a great time and everything. And then like it has this bit like an English street and there's just this one guy going like really out of tune going, is this a real life? Is Jesus fair? You just hear a guy go, shut the fuck up!
Yeah.
If you guys, it's completely irrelevant to the quarantine thing, but have you ever seen the video of when somebody is in their car driving down a street in Britain on a night out and they're just blasting Venga Boys and everybody just loses their mind?
No.
I have not.
Sounds great, though.
It's just an entirely British thing.
Who are Venga Boys?
The Venga bus is coming.
Like
Everybody's jumping.
late 90s.
Kill me.
Tom, do you know how
Shoot me.
long I had I'm Blue stuck in my head after our road trip? You played it once.
That'll do.
And I
that'll
had
do
just
it to you.
gotten it out of my head from the 90s, so thanks.
I still listen to that today, unironically.
It's a good song.
just love it.
It's a classic.
I just love it.
I think that may have been the first single I ever bought.
Nice. Nice.
It had a really weird video with
It did.
terrible
Which,
computer-aided graphics of the day.
Yeah, if you try watching it now, it is not aged well.
I've had
Like PS1
Don't Touch
game.
This stuck in my head for quite some time, too.
Which one?
Don't touch that.
Oh, yeah. Group X.
Yeah.
Arabian rap, if anybody's interested.
Hands off.
That entire playlist is a fucking mess.
I still listen to it. It's great. Good memories.
Yeah, for reference, we put together a playlist of that we listened to on the trip, and it is
That makes it sound like there was some sort of planning. It was literally 10 minutes before we went off your driveway. We went, oh shit, what are we going to listen to? And
exactly,
we
which is why it is such
three
a
of us
mess.
just threw a load of shit in.
This looks good. That we ended up with I'm Blue.
Yeah.
No. What else is new besides everybody being stuck inside?
I ain't stuck inside, I told you.
Yeah, well, stay away
I
from
go to
me.
work. I get to go out to work every day still. I'm a key worker, me.
Christy and I have decided that if anybody needs to go out to get things, it's me, so that we reduce our overall exposure. So
Basically,
basically,
you just frigging love going to the store.
I'm the expendable one in this relationship.
Well, no, because if you come home, you're going to give it to
Yeah.
them anyway, so...
Well, true, but if she were to go to different places, it's just reducing overall exposure, I guess is what we're going for.
Fair.
I guess, but if you're just going to all the places that either of you could go to... It's
No, that's the thing, like she might go to a different place than I would go to.
Now, here's an important question, Eric. Have you started doing a big shop? Or have you been to the store a million times?
Doing a big shop is not a phrase we have here.
Oh.
It refers to buying generally a week's worth of groceries at once.
How about 2 days at once? No, when shit started to really...
Well, it's progress. It's better than one.
When shit really started to go down, we decided to start... Mike, you're going to get that one silver hair?
It's annoying. Like, because I'm using the video, and the video's reversed, so I'm trying to figure out which way my crab hands need to go. Yeah, it's really irritating me.
Watching people pull their own hair out just makes me squirm.
I'm not trying to pull it out. I'm trying to like get it embedded in the rest, but I can't figure out which way to go because the image is reversed.
Jeez.
Hang on a second, I can help. Just
What are you doing?
for context, I just held scissors up to the webcam.
9 minutes of mime jokes.
I think I'm good. There we go. Good. Anyway, sorry. Go on.
I don't know.
Big shop.
We've been buying food as we need it in large quantities. So yes, Dan, to answer your question, we have been.
Doing the big shop.
Utilize that freezer, son.
Yep. That's what we're doing.
Good man, I'm proud of you. It must be difficult.
It is. I'd rather go to the shop 10 times a day instead of once every 10 days. Like, I'm going through withdrawals. That's what I'm going through withdrawals about. Everybody else is withdrawing from social contact. It's like, I just need to go to a store.
Going when it's closed and just like putting yourself against the glass. Open. Like Spock and Kirk at the end of Star Trek 2, doesn't it?
It's like watching all of my favorite stores close down is just like watching my friends die. It's like, I need you. Please open.
God. Oh, no.
Oh, poor Eric. Are you okay?
I'll be all right. I got some games to pass some time.
Well done. You've actually managed to stick to playing one as well by the looks of it.
I have. Wow, have I? Should we talk about what we've been playing?
Yeah, go on,
can
you
do.
go first.
Oh, boy. Let me tell you about some shit penny games I've been buying on the Switch.
Stop encouraging it. You, of all people, like trash talk the eShop so much about there being just like loads of shit gone in there that's like really high priced and then always on sale so that they can say shit's on sale. And here you are fucking spending your gold points on them.
What else am I going to do with 19 gold points?
Save
them up so you can
that next
redeem
time
them.
you buy shit, it can accumulate.
It's 19 cents. Or I could get
Yeah.
19 one-penny games. What's the better alternative?
But you'll never play them.
But I did. I bought one
You
called...
play them for like 2 minutes.
I did. I played Conduct Together for a good hour.
Ooh, get you.
Ooh, wow. That's your longest player session ever.
And yours, Dan. You play 1 hour a day.
Oh,
How are you going to finish Final Fantasy at this point?
Spoilers.
Yeah, so I decided one night I was bored and I was going to go on the eShop and just see what sort of filth was on there. And everything that I found that was 1 penny, I purchased. And boy, is it some shit. Conduct Together, although, is actually pretty good. I haven't opened... What was that one that you and I were looking at called Hello, James? Sorry, James. Sorry, James. I haven't opened that one yet. But that one actually looks pretty good. But then, against all better judgment and against Zach's review, I purchased Agony. And...
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
For a penny.
That was $2.
$2.50. It's $2.50 Moose, but I think it's about $2 Freedom.
Yeah, it's only like 2 Freedom Beaks, but it was...
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. Wasn't the whole, like, one of the driving forces of Agony was supposed to be, like, how good it looked, but you've bought it on Switch?
I'm sure Zach was excited about it.
Yeah, but he said it was absolute...
Zach was getting to spend money. Of course he was excited about it.
If this game looks... I can't imagine that it could possibly look any worse anywhere else, so I'm assuming it looks better on all other consoles, but I couldn't even tell what the fuck was going on because on standard screen settings, it was just pure black. You could see nothing. I had to, even cranking up the brightness, could see shit. Had to adjust the gamma, so everything just turned into this grayscale. No idea what was going on. Couldn't see shit. Turned it off after 5 minutes. Went, well, that wasn't worth $2.
Was it terrifying?
No, not unless you're afraid of the dark.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then you wouldn't like it. I bought, what was that? Revenge of the Bird King? That's a great game where guns grow on plants. It's awesome. You can, when you run out of ammo, you just throw a seed down and a gun sprouts up out of the ground. You pick it up and you keep shooting. And you're an American Eagle fighting for freedom. So
that's what would you rate that out of 10?
10.
Right. Quite the criteria to get a 10 out of you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is this game loosely affiliated with America? Yes.
Let me tell you about Broforce. But no, to Mike's point, I have picked up an RPG that I have stuck with. I am about to crest 15 hours in this thing.
Persona 5 at last.
No, nope. I actually tried to reseal that one. Wasn't worth opening. Don't know why.
What were your thoughts on Persona 5, Eric, of the little you played? I can't remember. Like, I'm being serious. I know you're going to try and talk
started
shit for
it, he
Dad.
enjoyed himself, he stopped.
I don't know. It's just a lot of faff.
A lot of faff?
No, a lot of faff. To quote Dan Curtis.
I put about 10 hours in, I think, on Persona 5.
I put about 5. Went,
I've put about 140.
Are you going to get Royal, Daniel?
Yes, after I finish Final Fantasy 7.
Oh, it's nice to see that you've gone back to the original and playing that through, but before the new one comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Eric, the RPG you picked up.
Yeah, so for years I've been wanting to actually finally dig into the Trails in the Sky trilogy, which is the follow-up to the Legend of Heroes original trilogy. So this is Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky, then there's second chapter, then there's third chapter, and then it flips into Trails of Cold Steel. And I have all the Trails of Cold Steel games, like, oh, it'd be nice to be able to play those, but I should probably know what the hell's going on here, so I'm going to crack open Trails in the Sky, which by many accounts is regarded as one of the best RPGs of the last decade. So I've started it before, got about 4 or 5 hours into it, and for some reason tapered off, and I'm making it a goal to actually get through it during this quarantine. And let me tell you what, that is a fantastic little RPG.
What makes it good?
Tell
me, Eric. Tell me more.
No, it's...
Like, does it have a car?
The best game of the last decade. It came out in 2004.
Did not.
Fuck yeah, it did, bud.
It did not. When did Trails
Did you just say, fuck yeah, it did blood?
Bud.
Oh, you said blood.
Maybe that.
Oh, it came out in Japan in 2004.
Yeah, Tom's joined the Crips.
Yeah.
What's it on there? It's PSP, isn't it? It's a puss
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It does look really good. I've always fancied playing it.
It's pretty locked away.
myself.
I think it's on PC as well, but I'm playing it the PSP version on the Vita. it's a really interesting RPG where it I don't know, the world that it creates is so damn charming despite being horribly Japanese and having some incredibly distasteful moments, opinions towards women and gays, and it's really strange, but it's all kind of this really lighthearted, bubbly atmosphere where when you go into an RPG, you don't want it to just be doom and gloom and story. This is one of the few where I've actually wanted to go and talk to everybody in town because they all have something interesting to say, and it interacts with what you're doing on your quest and the character interactions and their personality. It's a really slow burn of a game. It's upwards of 60 to 80 hours from most people who say if you want to do and see everything in this game, you're in it for the long haul. Which doesn't bode well.
My attention.
Which does not bode well for my projected completion, but
that was going to be my next question. Do you think you'll finish it?
I think so. It's really an interest, especially the combat system. It melds traditional RPG with a bit of tactics, but not your traditional like Final Fantasy tactics. It's more like Tom, you'd probably relate to this, but Popolocrois, where you have this grid base. It's very similar to Popolocrois, where you can move around. You only have a certain range you can go within. Being behind people doesn't necessarily matter as much, but it does. You do have to take into account where you are on the battlefield. There's no height or elevation, at least not at this point yet. But where it gets really deep is you don't have magic in this game. You have what are called orbments, and each character can use specific orbs, and you can only attach 6 of them at a time. But they're different things from elemental defense to agility, attack, your traditional RPG stuff. But in the battle, as you get hurt, you have a bar, your orbment, I don't remember what it's called, but there's a bar on the bottom. As it fills up, you get a special skill, and you can immediately change the flow of battle. You can attack, and then you can utilize the special skill to attack again with your superpower. So if you save all of those up, you can just power through all of your characters at once. I don't know. It's one of those that when you find an RPG that just resonates with you, you just kind of stick with it. And this is one of those where it just can't really put it down. And being able to play it on the go, I think, is really the best for me because I don't have time to sit in front of a screen. But I have pulled out my PlayStation TV, and I've been tucking that in there and playing it on the big screen. And let me tell you what, that does not look good on a blown-up 75-inch.
I hope you're stretching it to the max.
Well, see, with black borders.
No, because it's pretty much the same 16:9 resolution, which TVs are now, so it fits. Oh. But I did scrunch it to 4:3.
But you can't have a letterbox style, like can't just.
I don't know. I didn't try.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, Tom, I definitely think this one would be right up your alley. Dan, I think you would probably like it as well.
Yeah, I am intrigued.
I'm 15 hours in, and I still haven't hit the main stride of the story because the plot development or the character development is really extreme. It's what's the word I'm looking for?
Slow burn, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very slow.
That kind of puts me off, though.
Oh, no.
Like these days, I don't have much time for playing long games at home, so most things will be portable for me. I was like, I guess I always say I'm not the RPG guy, and the things you've been saying about this are like, maybe I should give it a little look-see, play it on my Vita or whatever, but I don't know, 15 hours to just actually get into the main plot.
Yeah, but what you're doing is so fun. So, Dan, what you would like, so the premise of it is that you are this girl named Estelle Bright, and your father is one of the most. Are we going to do this again? Your father's one of the most revered. They're called bracers, and essentially they're the Adventurers Guild, and he's one of the most prestigious bracers, and he takes off to go do some investigation in the Northern Territory.
What, like a rocket ship?
Yeah.
Just goes...
Let him tell a story, Mike, bless him.
Leaving you to take over some of his quests, and the game starts as you become a full-fledged junior bracer, so you pass your exam, and you and your adopted brother are kind of this duo going through and completing quests, and Dan, you'll like this. At the Bracers Guild, there's a job board where you can just accept random jobs and quests, and they're not just like trivial, go fetch this for me. It's an actual full-blown quest. So there is quite a hefty amount of side stuff to do in the game, but the premise of it is that your father takes off on this airship to go investigate the northern colonies. There's a kind of this underlying turbulent strife between the Erebonian Empire and the Rolent Empire. And
So who's boning who empire?
yeah, he's boning him Empire. But his airship disappears. And that's kind of what kicks things off, is you have to go and investigate this, and you kind of cross paths with the army who doesn't really want to do anything, so you're trying to circumvent them. It does have a little bit of a political nature to it as well, but it's also just really lighthearted, and the growth of Estelle from this bubbly, arrogant, obnoxious little girl into this really independent, sure-footed woman is kind of the overarching theme of the story. But yeah, I was sending you guys some pictures of some dialogue throughout the course of the game, and it's quite colorful.
Not very PC for sure.
No, definitely not. You meet a bard whose name is Olivier, and he is a lover of all things fine, including art and food and music and men. The main characters don't take too well to that, but yeah, it's an interesting little game. I definitely recommend it.
Do you
It
think
definitely
you'll stick
sounds
it
like
out?
something I'm interested in, and it's just a shame it's kind of locked away.
It is a
hasn't
shame
been
that it's locked
re-released.
away, but it's not that demanding of a game. I'm pretty sure your potato could run it.
Do you not have a PSP, Dan?
No.
What?
Well, I thought you had one.
No.
How did you play Crisis Core?
On my laptop.
Oh, then you can easily play this.
Oh.
If your laptop can emulate Crisis Core, you'll be fine with this.
Yeah.
Probably, but I ain't got time right now.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I don't know, Mike. I definitely think I'll finish this because it's something where I've just been chipping away at it when Chrissy's watching TV or the kids are watching a movie or I'm just laying in bed. It's kind of just become my go-to.
If Ratchets play with the Hot Wheels.
Hot Wheels Bridge Ratchet.
I love that cat so much.
He is a good one. He's a good boy. What else have I been playing? Oh, the Modern Warfare 2 remaster dropped out of nowhere. I guess I completely missed that this was coming out. You said it was announced?
It had been rumored for like a week or so, and then they just kind of stealth dropped it. Was it Tuesday? I think it was.
I think so.
It was Monday or Tuesday. They just stealth dropped it onto PSN. It's got a month-long exclusivity to PS4 before it comes to PC and Xbox.
I was
Do you
initially...
think it was always meant to come out now, or do you think they've just done it because of what's going on?
Hard to say. I didn't even know it was coming out, so I have no speculation on it. I was initially really kind of disappointed that it was only the campaign, but then I remembered that the Modern Warfare 2 campaign is the best one.
Also, isn't all the Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer stuff in the Modern Warfare 1 remaster?
At least the maps are,
Multiplayer.
Yeah, the maps.
Oh, okay.
but I
Is
want...
there any other difference than that? Like, bear in mind, I don't play Call of Duty, so...
I don't know, the playlist, the weaponry, just the overall feel of the game. But they have done a number on this game, and it looks and plays wonderfully.
Is it 2? Is the number 2?
It is number 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was fairly cheap as well. I know obviously it was only the campaign, but it was 20 quid over here.
Yeah, it was only $20. Definitely worth it if you really enjoyed Modern Warfare 2. Not, I mean,
It's very rare I play a COD for the campaign.
but Call of Duty
Really?
Modern Warfare 2 campaign is so good.
They know how to do a campaign, those boys.
And that
Apart from that Black Ops one where they didn't bother.
Yeah, apart from that one.
tell you what, Modern
But
Warfare 2,
otherwise-
if you don't remember...
Finish that campaign quickly though, Dan. I've completed it several times. I don't even own it.
When this came out, it had a lot of controversy surrounding one of the missions called No Russian, where
It's the one where you go through it slowly, right?
I knew you were going to say that.
set them up for it.
I need to stop wasting my jokes in WhatsApp so that you know that they're coming on the show.
Yeah, the one where you are an undercover cop and you join this Russian terrorist group to make your way through an airport, and they are just slaughtering civilians, and you have the option to actually partake in it. And that is no less impactful this time around. It was an uncomfortable
And they don't know
mission.
it's you because you're under a cover,
Yes.
just with eye holes.
Yes.
Like a ghost.
Yeah, that mission caused so much controversy back in the day, and actually with this
remember.
re-release, they've been refused classification in Russia because of that mission.
Oh, shit. So they can't release it
That
in
doesn't
Russia?
surprise me.
Damn.
That doesn't surprise me
So
at all.
no Russian for the Russians.
Did they just skip that mission? Or
No, it hasn't
Just
been
take it
released.
slowly.
they certainly give you enough boxes to make sure you understand what's coming up. Like, this game's got some uncomfortable situations. It's like, I know, show it to me. Like, are you sure? Yeah, like, we will not ask you again. I'm like, fucking let me kill people.
You kill everything in a game? No.
Guys, hold back. I got this.
Don't even know why you guys are here.
I was coming as a
I
regular
wonder,
Tuesday.
what the death toll of the scientists and security guards was in Half-Life. We'll get to that later.
Is there a number below 100%?
I never told you how much I hate you, Eric.
Many, many times.
I believe you sent them that message yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
But then,
Possibly the day before.
Yeah.
Mike, should we talk a little bit about Resident Evil 3?
I think we should. Mine came a day early,
Mine did not.
which was nice. And then I got distracted by something else the day after. It was my dick. No. Mine came a day early, which I was very, very happy about. I've only played about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. So Eric is ahead of me.
I'm about 2.5 hours in.
Whoo, boy. Is it exciting?
It doesn't get any less exciting. It is constant,
Not bad, eh?
constant action, stress, tension. It is not Resident Evil 2 remake in the least bit.
Yeah, well,
it's
it's
3.
like I was saying last time. The original Resident Evil 3 was always a little bit more action orientated, and they definitely seem to have gone with that on this, because from the get-go, this is literally at the very, very beginning of the game, so it's not a spoiler. Like, Nemesis is pretty much fucking there straight away. Like, it's pretty much the first thing you deal with.
Yeah.
Which he didn't come in straight away on the original.
I really didn't
And
like the opening
you just fucking
section
deal
where
with
you
it.
were in first person. I did not like that. Like, I'm so glad.
I loved it.
I liked the bit that you ended up at where it switched back, but like,
You're in first person?
I'm so glad that they didn't make this game first person like Resi 7.
Well, they did that with the trailer. They showed it in first person to start with, and then
I
switched
didn't
it up.
see that.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very beginning, like for the first sort of 30 seconds to a minute, you are in first person, but it leads to a really fucking cool moment, which I won't spoil on here. But
Go on.
No, I'm not going to spoil it. But because I can't stand spoilers, so I'm not going to be the person who fucking spoils
Yeah, he
shit on
loves
here.
them.
I accidentally did it once, and Eric had to edit it out. So I don't want to give Eric more
He
work.
loves them.
Yeah, but no, I was surprised because when I played the demo for the last show, I said I was surprised at how far into the game it was. Turns out that section is actually quite early into the remake.
Almost right at the beginning.
Yeah, and then also I was surprised at how much had changed from the demo, like items were in different places and stuff like that. So playing through those bits that I'd already played, it didn't feel too repetitive, which was nice.
Yeah, I'm glad they did that.
But yeah, from what I've played of it, yeah, it's intense. Like, I feel like the zombies are harder to go down. Like, they take so many fucking bullets now. I don't know if that's intentional because you've now got the dodge mechanic and everything like that. But
And an unbreakable knife, apparently.
yes, yeah, you have just a combat knife as a weapon on this one. The downside to that is you don't have them as a retaliation to being hit this time. So on Resi 2 Remake, if you had a knife or a grenade kit equipped, if you got attacked, by an enemy like a zombie or something like that, it would then use it as like a counter attack, and you'd take less damage. Unfortunately, you don't have that option this time. Again, I think it's because you've got the dodge mechanic. You know, it's a case of either dodge it or fucking shoot it, or you're taking some damage, I guess. But yeah, just from the get-go, like being on the streets of Raccoon City, it feels so much more intense than being in those enclosed environments. And I love the police station in Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, but I like the city
this has
better.
This has a certain
Miracle of building design, that place.
Yeah.
This has a certain kind
architect deserves a raise.
Anarchy kind of feel to it because it's out there in the open and everything like that. Now, from the reviews I was listening to before it came out, a lot of the criticisms seem to have been, because I've obviously not played the entire thing yet, a lot of the criticisms that I've heard seem to be the exact same criticisms that the original game had, and it seems to be from people who haven't played the original game as well. Things like how kind of linear it is and how restrictive the streets are, you know, it only lets you go where it wants you to go and things like that. But I don't know, that's Resi 3, man.
I didn't feel like it was too linear at all. That first opening section, I bouncing all over the place. But to your point about the zombies, the one thing that I actually don't really care for is that, yeah, they do take a while to go down, but when they finally go down, you expect them to be down, but you can backtrack through that section and the bodies will still be there, but you'll walk by and then they'll get up again.
Are you sure you killed them enough? Always give them a bit of a stabby stab with the knife.
I've definitely killed them enough. Because I'll be...
I realize with the knife you can't use bullets at the same time.
Yeah, I just put the knife in the box and we're on our way.
You need one of those knives that Olga from Metal Gear has. So the Spetsnaz Surprise or whatever it's called.
Yeah. The entire time I've been playing, there's just this underlying level of tension because you really don't know when Nemesis is going to come out. It's been a while since I played 3, but you can always kind of
Don't you know when I'm going to come out?
You can always kind of tell when Nemi's going to show up in the original 3 because the music changes and it gets tense, and not in this one. He just fucking appears and it immediately flips into absolute chaos. And it's just fucking awesome. I just got through my first major boss battle with him, and man, this game can put together a cutscene.
Well, one of the criticisms I've seen, from people that haven't really played it, was a thing of how the sort of randomness of Nemesis kind of dies off around halfway through and it becomes just kind of different boss battles and stuff. But again, that was the same in the original. So
then I'm
hoping that when you get to... No, you have boss battles with him, but like the randomness kind of drops off like halfway through.
Then that's kind of where I am.
It would have just been the same as Resident Evil 2 remake as well if they'd done it like Mr. X where he follows you everywhere. It would have been too samey.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I forgot, I've lost my train of thought. But that was it. I'm hoping that when it gets to that point in this remake, I hope that tension still lasts, because I remember that kind of dropping off a little bit in the original, like the tension kind of drops off a little bit and then it would spike up again when Nemesis would come and get you and stuff. But I don't know. I'm hoping it does last because honestly, the tension that Eric is talking about is possibly this game's greatest trait.
Yeah. It's really unnerving.
It feels like nowhere is safe. And that's not even just because of Nemesis. Just while I was talking about that kind of feeling of anarchy and everything that's around you because you're not inside a building, because you're surrounded by the smashed up cars and fire and just the whole city in disarray. It builds towards that tension as well. And I know that Resident Evil 3 later on starts going into locations away from that. So again, I'm hoping it still kind of lasts. But like I said, with these enemies that seem to do take a lot more to go down, I'm thinking it will.
Well, I think the other thing about this game that its greatest strength is that in that opening section, there's a toy store that when you go inside, there's a giant Mega Man statue.
Oh, God.
And he looks like the Mega Man from the original box art.
That is a cool...
Probably the best feature of the game right there. So if you're going to buy this game, buy it for that so you can pop in and see that.
May as well just stop after that, Eric. You've peaked. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Turn it off. Beat the game right there.
Unless Nemesis comes in later on dressed like that.
Pro tip about Nemi. Make sure every time you encounter him, you take him down because he drops a supply crate that has key components to different weapons in there.
Oh, have they kept that in?
They have.
Oh, that was in the
sweet.
original.
And there was one section where I was running away from him in a hallway, and it was kind of a key point, like a transition point in the story. And I just turned around and hucked a grenade to kind of get him to back off, and didn't realize that I actually took him down until I went through a door. And as I saw a cutscene happening and the door shutter behind me, I saw that he dropped a supply crate and went, fuck, I can't get that. And I was hoping at some point I could circle back around because it was in a place that was freely accessible earlier in the game. So I played another 45 minutes hoping I could get back there. Nope, can't.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm glad they've kept that in, though. That
Yeah.
gives you a good reason to try and take him down. Because I was saying last time that was one of the key features of the first one. A way to try and
He's not-
give yourself an edge was to take him down.
He's not hard to take down. Plus, there's really cool elements within the environment. Like there are generators laying all around the city that are just kind of short-circuiting that you can use to dispatch large amounts of zombies by shooting it, and it fires out this electrical pulse, and that usually takes him down in one. But
Yeah, there's the like stereotypical red barrels that you can shoot and stuff like that as well.
it's really fun
all
to
these things were in the original.
It's really fun in this one to get all the zombies to kind of follow you around and kite him to a red barrel and blow all of that up. It's
Yeah, especially with the kind of the way the zombies, this is a follow-on from Resident Evil 2 Remake, the way that their bodies actually come apart and everything like that as well, it works.
you haven't met the Gamma Hunters yet, have you? Whew.
Well, I haven't even seen the brain suckers yet, which you thought were a new enemy.
Well, they look so
forgot that they
different from
exist.
the original.
So if any of you guys have played Resident Evil 3, the original, there's these kind of weird yellow spider enemies.
Oh, they're horrible. I remember them.
Yeah, I assume I'm right next to them because I've seen a building with
You
webbing.
are.
and
Yeah, you are
everything.
definitely.
And Eric messaged me saying, "Oh, there's a brand new enemy." Like, so when you get into that building, I was like, "Oh, I'm assuming by the spider webs, it's the yellow things." I didn't realize they were called brain suckers until I had to find an image of them to send to Eric. And you just said they're terrifying now.
Oh man, it was one of the few times that I've actually jumped, and Christy was watching it with me too. And it's like there's just this palpable tension to get through that section because they're everywhere.
I fucking hate giant spiders. I can't deal with that. That's awful.
Yeah. Oh
Like
my
when
God.
they're in Skyrim. No. When I was
They're not
playing
so
in
much
Skyrim
spiders
VR,
as they are
horrendous.
like a cross between a scorpion and a head crab.
I couldn't play Farpoint VR because that is all spider enemies.
Oh yeah,
And-
that jump at your face.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
just,
yeah.
I can't deal with that. Nah. It's awful.
But yeah, the one downside I have is, it's I was hoping it wasn't going to continue on from the demo, but the Xbox version definitely doesn't run as good as the PS4 version. Don't get me wrong, it runs fine, like it's absolutely playable and everything like that, but you can tell it just doesn't play as well. But there was rumors of this not having many physical copies out there because of everything that's going on at the moment, and I had an Xbox version pre-ordered already. I didn't want to cancel that pre-order in case I couldn't get hold of the PS4 version, because I do still to this day, even though I play all my third-party stuff on the Xbox now, I still prefer the PS4 controller. It's just because I'm used to it, and I would have preferred to play this with a PS4 controller. But hey-ho, it's still great on Xbox, so...
I'm definitely enjoying this one a lot more. I really enjoyed Resi 2, but this one I think I've always enjoyed more because it is more action-oriented, and I have yet to come across any issues with finding ammunition. And believe me,
I don't think you will on this one. The first one gave you the original gave you lots of ammo. The thing for me with this is I am not as nostalgic for 3 as I am 2,
Yeah, me
because
either.
I owned 2 and I used to play 2 a lot, and I always say I know that game like the back of my hand. 3 I've only played through several times, and I've always really liked 3, and it's always been this kind of one off to the side that I just don't know as well, but I've enjoyed what I've played at it. So like, playing this one and not being as nostalgic for it, I'm glad I'm enjoying it as much as I am.
Yeah, Tom, I definitely think you would enjoy this one quite a bit.
3 is the one that I'm most nostalgic for, and that's because I owned the PS1 copy. It was the first Resident Evil game I actually bought, because I think I borrowed the first 2, and so I actually had I also loved the idea of Nemesis as well, like that you never knew when he would turn up. Obviously, you had all the audio cues and stuff, but as a kid, you're just like, it was pretty terrifying.
Oh yeah,
knowing that
he is ruthless. He's almost comically overpowered.
I faced him in the demo and I had to quickly get used to that quick step mechanic that obviously isn't in 2, but is put in for this reason in 3, so you can dodge his attacks.
So, Mike, I was paying attention this time. They do not walk you through that for quite a while until
they do on the demo.
Yeah, but if you haven't
Not
played
on the main
demo,
game. Not on the main game. Yeah, but we were talking about the demo.
I know,
last
but
time.
I'm telling you, for anyone who hasn't played the demo, they don't make that explicitly clear.
Interesting.
True. I will give you that. But we were talking about the demo last time, and it's all about context, Mr. Peterson.
Leave me alone.
Has Eric by any chance skipped an instruction on a game again?
No, I skipped an instruction on a demo. That doesn't count.
Also, I don't know about you, Eric, but every game I ever play, I always look in the options menu first, and one of the things I always look at is the controls.
That ain't playing the game.
The first thing I do is put subtitles on.
Me too.
It's the first thing I do.
I used
They're
to
generally
hate
quite often
subtitles.
on standard nowadays.
Yeah,
Which is
they
used-
are, actually.
I watch most movies and TV shows with subtitles if I can.
Yeah, same.
Really?
Yep.
My
Yeah.
problem with subtitles is I like them because half the time you can't understand things what people are saying, but I read quicker than they speak, so I end up skipping the dialogue.
Yeah.
Obviously you can't do that for a movie.
It allows you to get through the game faster then.
But you can't skip dialogue in a cutscene, so it's good for that.
That's the other thing, Mike. I
have
say,
them on in games in case like people come wondering, you're watching a cutscene and something important,
Yes.
bits of important information is given you, and someone comes in like just
Or the
chatting,
cow-
and you
or
miss
the-
it.
One thing
It
about
comes down with subtitles though, like how they've programmed them in. If they've programmed them too long, so you can read a very long sentence and it takes them a long time to say it, then that means you're just waiting for them to catch up. But if they've programmed it in little snippets, which works better for the flow of how they're speaking, you know what I mean?
My issue with subtitles, and don't get me wrong, I'd rather have them than not have them. So I do have them on, but my issue is I concentrate far too much on the words rather than actually what's going on the screen.
yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Did Tom freeze again for anyone?
Yep.
Now I'm back.
There he is.
Always does. There he is.
Well,
There he is.
it's kind of a minor complaint. I don't know if you've noticed it, Mike, but the game does a really, really good job of seamlessly transitioning between action and cutscene. But if you're still holding any button or moving the joystick when it transitions into the cutscene, like this translucent gray bar comes across the bottom of the screen with like the little options menu button in the bottom right corner. It just kind of detracts from the whole aesthetic of the cutscene.
Why would I still be holding a button?
Well, like,
other than the
okay, for example,
analog stick?
there's one section where you're running and you have to jump across this gap, and midway through the jump, it flips into cutscene. So you're still holding forward as you're moving your character, but that bottom third of the screen is covered up with this gray bar that says.
I haven't noticed that. Are you sure it's doing it when you're holding an analog stick? Because that seems
100%.
really weird. All right, I'll test it out later.
Because it gives you the
You
option.
heard it, everyone. I heard it here, everyone. He said 100%.
Gives you the option to skip the cutscene or.
He's
pause.
been wrong before.
I'm never wrong. Never.
Skip.
How many
Ever.
bobbleheads have you found?
Well, like this Bob Ross one.
Yeah. What?
Oh, this lovely Groot one.
Because as you know, we don't make mistakes. We just have happy accidents.
I don't know if you heard that.
Happy accidents.
There we go. If not, that's just going to be a moment of silence on the podcast. We'll have to edit out. But hopefully that came through. Anyway, I haven't found any of them yet.
Shit, I've only found 2.
But you are further than me, and I haven't really been looking for them. But I noticed that the one that I definitely found in the demo wasn't there, because there's one in the desk as you go up the stairs from the tram, and that wasn't there.
They don't introduce you to the first one until pretty far in. But after that, I've only found 2.
Did you try shooting Mega Man?
Fuck no, I'm not a heathen. Christ.
I might try. Might try and get it with a knife. Die, miner!
Wrong game.
Shit.
Be interested to see if while you aim at Mega Man, if it just stops you from aiming upwards.
For the rest of the game. There is no crouch mechanic in Resident Evil, unfortunately, so can't take that off you.
Oh, God. Never live that down, Will.
But no, I definitely a hearty pip. I've heard it's quite short, but as I keep saying, the original was quite short as well.
I just
a lot of people seem to be getting through it in 5 to 7 hours.
I really need to make sure I'm through that before Final Fantasy comes out. I want to try to get through it this weekend because I took advantage of Target's buy 2 get 1 free and got this, Doom Eternal, and Control. And let's face it, Control's probably going to stay sealed for a while.
I think. Do you think you'll abandon Trails in the Sky, because of Final Fantasy VII coming out?
Probably not, because that'll just become my bedtime RPG.
Portable one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we're watching the news or something, I'll just chug away at it.
Oh man, I can't wait for Final Fantasy to come out.
Yeah, me neither.
Jesus.
It's going to be great, that game.
Tom, what have you been playing?
I'm still cracking on with Final Fantasy 13. I'm still enjoying it.
Corridor Simulator.
Yeah.
Are you at Grand Pulse yet?
I'm on disc 2 because I'm playing on 360.
Don't know what that means.
Chapter 7. There's 13 chapters.
Because it's Final Fantasy 13.
Get it? Because it's Final Fantasy. Oh, you
Well, that's what I thought, but turns out, happy accident.
Okay, Bob Ross.
I like it. I don't know. I used to really rag on 13, but it's not as bad as...
Get it? Because it's Tom Ragan?
As I thought. Yeah, get it? So I'm still cracking away.
It's the one that everybody loves to hate on.
Yeah, and it's definitely like one of the weakest of all of the mainline games.
It's got the most ragtag group of people. You're like, you know what?
Yeah.
In real life, you guys would not be hanging out together.
No.
My issue was I just didn't find many of them very likable.
Lightning was a huge bitch. I couldn't stand Snow. Vanille was just an idiot.
But they do, there's...
Saz has a chocobo in his afro. That's all you need.
But they do have a bit of an arc at least. Like they start to change slowly during the game. They've got some slow character development that is worth sticking it through.
Oh, they should have killed off Hope real early.
Not Hope, yeah. Hope is just...
Hope's just
he's
an
hopeless.
He's annoying. Really annoying. But the combat
Snow
is keeping me
killed
going.
my mama, so I'm gonna hate Snow for ages.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for Lightning to say to him, you don't want to do that. Revenge isn't going to get your mum back, but she just doesn't. It's kind of weird.
She's all aloof and cool, Tom. That's
Yeah.
what she's doing.
Yeah, cracking on. And I'm also playing Spec Ops The Line. Because,
Ooh, very good.
Good choice.
yeah.
I've tried to
Yeah,
go
I've not
back
played
to
it
that,
before.
and the gameplay hasn't aged very well.
What are you playing it on, Eric?
PS3.
If you can, either try and play it on PC or try and play it on 360. Apparently, it's just a much better experience. Obviously, I know you're talking about the gameplay, but the PS3 version is pretty terrible.
Yeah,
I played it on PS3 and still enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm playing it on PC at the moment with mouse and keyboard, and it's a really nice experience.
It's on PC, but it's still $30.
How far are you, Tom?
Chapter 3 or 4, only a couple hours in. It seems to be quite a short game.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm looking forward to, because at the moment it's definitely still in that kind of bro shooter world. But I've heard that it gets like the story beats gets a bit interesting, morally speaking. I've heard.
Yes, I nearly put it on my top 10 list for this past year. In fact, I think I put it on my honorable mentions.
You did,
yeah. It does, like, for first couple hours, yeah, it does definitely feel like a sort of generic, just third-person shooter, but it the whole time, I mean, I knew that apparently it got interesting anyway, the same as you, like, it apparently gets narratively interesting, but also the fact that, they got Nolan North to voice a character, I don't think they're going to get him to just voice a character for just a generic shooter.
Yeah, true.
As well. But no, yeah, I'm glad you're playing that, Tom, because I thought that game was fantastic. It's very thought-provoking as well towards the end.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'm having a good time, and it's one of those games that I've had on my backlog for ages, and I'm kind of like, well, got the time, so let's see what I can, fire up and have a go with.
I think I've got it on Plus somewhere. I think I tried it and just kind of tapered
it
off.
It was on Plus.
It was.
That's how I played it, PS3.
Yeah.
Thanks to Plus.
I shall have to boot it up at some point again.
Yes. Yes, you will. So that's it. Just those two, really. And obviously the G-Man of the week.
Go ahead, Dan. What the fuck have you been playing?
Well, I finished Days Gone.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And
How
got
many
the
hours?
platinum trophy for Days Gone. I'd probably say 60
Jesus.
plus.
Jesus.
Good lord. And an
I
hour a
loved
day?
that
I didn't
game.
think you
Like,
had the game that long.
What did you say, Dan?
I absolutely loved it. It was
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
really, really good. Actually, did
I'm
not
really
deserve
tempted.
the flack it got.
Yeah,
It's a bit janky, rough around the edges, but it's really enjoyable.
Yeah, but Dan, have you seen like this game? It seemed to be like critically panned, but most user reviews of it are pretty good.
Yeah,
I've heard
I don't
this.
understand what the critics played.
Yeah, I've been saying this a lot about Days Gone because the guys that made it, was it Sony Bend? They hadn't
Sony
done
Bend,
anything
yeah,
for
it was
about
Sony
10 years.
They made
they-
Siphon Phil there.
Yeah, exactly. They worked really, really hard. It was kind of like, I feel like it was kind of, this is putting all your eggs in one basket. Like, this has to succeed, otherwise we might be a bit screwed as a studio. But I kind of hoped, I was always kind of cheering from the sidelines for that game, even though it was critically kind of panned pretty badly. But yeah, like you say, Mike, the user reviews are pretty stellar. People who do play it really enjoy it.
It seemed to do really well in the UK. Randomly.
Yes, I've heard that too.
It's very rare that I go for a platinum trophy, and I wanted to do everything in this game because the side missions are so fun. Taking on a horde of freakers is brilliant, particularly when you get later on, when you get like a ridiculous machine gun with a massive magazine and you can just mow them down. Hundreds of these freakers running at you at once, and it doesn't get any less terrifying, but it's so cool.
Surely that is like sold for you, Eric.
Yeah, you had me at machine gun.
There
I
is
remember one of
that
the most
machine gun
interesting
does
things I read
reference
about this
the
game when it was in like due to come out. It was from one of the developers, and the engine they're using, I can't remember what engine it's in, but what the engine they're using, for some reason they can't create an actual motorbike in it. So the actual motorbike physically in the engine is actually a car, and they've kind of crumpled it in on itself to make it like the
Wow.
bike, which is really, really like strange way to get around. Inefficiency
That is
of an
really
engine.
strange.
because there's bikes in this game loads, so they've had to do that quite a lot.
Yeah,
The fascinating world of game development.
Yes.
for sure.
I tell you what, one of the coolest things about this game is when it snows, it actually lies on the ground. I don't think I've ever seen that happen before in a game.
Oh, I
And-
thought you were going to say when it snows, like it gets a
Is
bit
it-
chilly in the bedroom.
Is it better than Death Stranding with the weather effects?
I would say probably on par. But
Wow.
Death Stranding had snowy areas, but not necessarily the snow would lie in an area. But if it snows in the area, then it will lie there, and the environment will become snowy.
Honest
This-
snow. That's the problem.
Yeah. See, that's better than the snow in my game I'm playing as.
But he's a hero, Tom.
Yes, he is. He's a hero, and Lightning doesn't like him, even though he just wants to save people. But he can't save people
Because it's an
he's a
asshole.
tit.
because
He's a child.
I don't know why I'm. It's not. It is. It's got some seriously weak areas, but I'm still cracking on.
You don't
It
have
is
to defend
it's the
yourself, Tom.
characters
It's
for
fine.
me in 13. They're just rubbish.
Trust me, Tom, I
Yeah.
get
Save
it.
that for Eric.
Let me refer you to Spirit Tracks.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. True. What was it that made you carry on with Spirit Tracks again? Was it just perseverance?
Yeah, just to
Something about some heels that he has.
I'm gonna do this.
Something about some stilettos he owns.
Concrete boots. Just to say I did it.
Well done, Eric. Well done.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Yeah, when I finished Days Gone, I was honestly at a bit of a loss what to play because I knew Final Fantasy VII was coming out next week. But then a couple of days after I finished it, I got a text saying, "Oh, like I absolutely lost my shit when this came, by the way, that Final Fantasy VII Remake had shipped this week." And it arrived 2 days later, so I now have it, and I've been playing it.
See, now this is what I want to talk about, okay? I
Can
don't
I just state too Mine arrived early. I got Resident Evil 3 a day early and Final Fantasy 7 a week early.
Someone tells me you boys like arriving early.
High five time.
You should ask my wife. But unlike Dan, mine was a complete surprise because I got an email saying that it had arrived at their warehouse and will ship shortly, and they will let me know when that happens, and they never let me know that happened. So I was at work, and Hazel messaged me saying a game-shaped bit of post has arrived for you. So I immediately rang her. Open the damn thing. Open the damn thing.
What was it?
There it was. Anyway, Eric, you were saying. Titanfall 2.
Mrs. Doubtfire on DVD.
See, here's what I want to talk about now. This is what I don't understand. They shipped it to Europe and Australia early. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
To
I'm
avoid
following.
any potential delays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm still following.
Okay? So Europe and Australia get it a week early. Everybody else gets it late. Nobody
That's
gets
because
it
everyone else is
on
a chump.
time.
I understand Europe getting it early, less so Australia.
I
It
don't.
must be something to do with how the distribution channels work. They must have to ship to Europe at certain points and ship to America at different points and all this kind of stuff. That's what I imagine.
See, I would have thought it'd been late to Australia because they have to spend all that time like turning it upside down, don't they?
Oh,
Do you ever
man,
get sick of your own
I miss
jokes?
Australia.
You all right?
Do you ever get sick of your own jokes?
No, I think I'm hilarious.
It's okay to be wrong, Mike.
The problem is you guys still laugh at it, even if you're laughing at it.
Because we
in
like
spite
you
of
and
my
want to
humor.
make you feel good.
Yeah, bullshit.
Yeah, because I got a message. Amazon has been all over the place with my deliveries recently, where I'll order something and it'll say it'll be here next week, and then I'll get a message that says okay, it'll be here today, and then later in the day, like it'll be here Saturday, and then it'll show up today. And it's
You
just
never know what's coming anyway.
well, I like to at least know.
It's
when.
not like you're missing anything, is it?
Yeah, I'm home anyway.
This man generally has about 3 pre-orders of something which he's forgotten about.
I had to scour through all of the places I've been known to pre-order things to see if I had a Resident Evil 3 pre-order somewhere.
Eric, what? Use the search function in your fucking email inbox.
That's
How
what I
hard
did.
is it?
That's
You
what
don't
I
do it.
did.
You don't do it.
That's not what you just said, though. I had to scour through.
My email.
He likes to spin a yarn.
Yeah. Spin a
I
yarn in
Create
trolled
a
through my
tangled
emails for
scheme.
nearly 2 hours and I was exhausted. I had to have a lie down for a day after that.
No, but I got an email from Amazon that said, yeah, about that. We don't know when it's going to arrive, so it just put to be determined. I'm like, wow, fuck. Good thing I got my one from Best Buy, which is pick up on the 10th. And as of now, Best Buys are still open for carry-out pickup, where you drive up and you're like, all right, here's your shit. Get out of here.
Does that apply to Good Friday, though, Eric?
Yeah.
No, I'm just wondering.
I don't think
I don't know
things-
how America works. I mean, the big supermarkets in the UK are open on Good Friday.
Well,
as
let me
but
tell you
I
about
just-
how America works over here.
Oh, God. I'm turning this off now.
Yeah, but like generally, America is a much more religious place than the UK. So it stands to reason that it might not be open.
I don't know. Most stores are open.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned about it. And
Well, I hope you get it. I really do.
I do too. I'm kind of
I
in
might.
this really torn predicament of, do I just wait? Because right now Amazon says mine will be here on the 14th. And it's really only 4 days. I really want a physical copy of this. So I don't know. I guess I'll have to make that decision on the 10th. If I go and Best Buy is not open, then I guess I'm kind of stuck. So I don't know.
So how many copies do you actually have ordered? Just those 2?
3,
Okay.
2 from
You should be
Amazon.
fine. 2 from Amazon.
Shut up.
Fuck's sake.
1 standard edition, one deluxe edition, and then Best Buy got a deluxe edition.
Yeah, I had my original pre-order through Amazon and cancelled it and went with another retailer here in the UK, and I'm so glad I did.
I don't think anybody here in the States has gotten theirs early yet.
Yeah.
No.
Well, this is. Sorry, Tom.
No, sorry. I was just going to say that my copy is being shipped to my work address, which is closed. So I'm having to probably buy it digitally. To be honest,
my
'cause
dick.
it's out of stock everywhere else. Yeah.
Is it too
Surely
late to
they can
change shipping
change the address.
Tom?
I've direct messaged Best Buy on Twitter because that seems to be the best way to get hold of companies these days. Apparently,
Can't you just switch it from shipping to store pickup?
no, it won't let me because I don't know why I did this, but when I pre-ordered it through Best Buy, I didn't create an account. I just did it as a guest. And
I would send them a Facebook message as well, Tom.
yeah.
Why don't you just call them?
Well, what is this? 2002?
I don't want results now.
God, no.
I want
I don't
results
call anyone.
48 hours from now.
I don't even answer the phone when Cat rings me.
I mean, thing is, right? Do not get me wrong. Obviously, COVID-19 is fucking terrible, and everything that's happening in the world is a bad thing. But in terms of just Final Fantasy VII alone, worked out pretty well for me because I had in-store pre-order with Game, and I would have just rolled with that and got that on next Friday. And because obviously all like Game is closed now and everything, I can't go and pick my pre-order up. I have no idea what's going on with it. They sent me an email saying we're figuring stuff out with in-store pre-orders. So I was like, well, I'll just order it from somewhere else and hope for the best. And it was was it Monday I messaged you, Dan, when I ordered it? I ordered it on Monday, and yeah, like I said, got it this week. So I got really, really fucking lucky. So
I tell you what.
thanks, COVID-19.
I tell you what. If it weren't such a horrible situation, this whole thing would actually, the irony of this happening when Final Fantasy VII Remake coming out would almost be hilarious. Because we've waited how long for this fucking game? And then
5 years at least.
Yeah, just from knowing it was in existence, but even longer. I mean, people were speculating that this was in creation.
The PS3 days.
Yeah, when they did that tech demo on the PS3.
Yeah.
Well, they
And
have
people were
recently
wanting it before
revealed
that,
that's
I
when
think.
they first started planning it.
What'd you say, Mike?
I said even going back further than that, like even not just from that tech demo, I think that once the PS3 came out and we got HD graphics, I think people were clamoring for it then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so who would have ever predicted that the world economy would absolutely be crumbling and half the world would struggle to even get the game when it came out? It's just, it's funny.
You couldn't make it up, could you?
No. So
I hate it though because people need to play this game, and before we get into it, I'm going to say this: we're not going to spoil anything.
But
we are going to do a proper Final Fantasy VII Remake extravaganza show if these guys get it, which hopefully they will.
the one thing I will say, though, Dan, is that out of the four of us, and of anybody I know, I am glad you got yours early. Had
me
all
too.
three of us gotten it and yours been delayed, I would have felt
God.
really bad.
Do you know what though? I would have preferred if we all got it together.
I do too.
As much as I'm enjoying playing it, I would have loved to be able to talk to you all about it.
Yeah.
While we're playing it together. I mean,
Yeah,
let's face it, I probably would have been miles ahead of you anyway. But
But you know what? Here's the thing. By the time Tom and I get it, you'll be starting your second playthrough, so we can talk through it again.
That's true.
As long as you don't spoil anything.
I promise you, I will not say anything on this show or like to you guys in WhatsApp that will spoil anything. I've said little things to you guys, and I assure you that none of that is spoilers. From the day that Final Fantasy VII Remake dates were announced, I've always said to Hazel, look, the first day off I get it, first weekend day I get it, I just don't want to do anything else other than play Final Fantasy VII all day, and that's always been our deal. So I had that yesterday. I got my day of just playing it. So I'm not caught up with Dan, but I've played 11 hours of it.
Oh, my dick.
And
Jesus.
like I said, because we're going to do a show on it next week, I don't want to go too in depth with it anyway, because I want to save most of my thoughts and stuff for that. But like, and this is not rubbing it into anyone who hasn't got it yet. I assure you, guys, this game is incredible. It is so.
I think
good.
this is going to get 10s out of 10 from pretty much everywhere. I'd be very surprised if it didn't.
Do you think IGN's going to plagiarize somebody else's review for this one?
Probably. But it genuinely feels special, and it feels like I messaged you guys earlier in the week and I said they've married together the old Final Fantasy turn-based style with the new action style that they've been striving to make for so long, and like had a few missteps with 13 and 15, and they've married those both together and combined it with the original Final Fantasy VII storyline, expanded on it in meaningful ways, and it just feels like a real special game.
Yeah,
that will
like
go
what
down in history.
What Dan said about the melding of the styles, like even if this wasn't Final Fantasy VII, if they kept this exact same gameplay and had, say it was a brand new game, this exact same gameplay, and married it with a great story, I would still have great feelings about it because, yeah, it
Dan, can I ask? I want to ask.
I can't embellish more on what Dan said about the melding of styles, but that is truly how it feels.
I don't know if I want to ask this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Does it incorporate any aspects of Crisis Core?
Don't answer that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mainly because where I'm up to, no, and I don't want to know if it does in future.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Dan's
don't
much
think
further
I
ahead
should
than
answer that, but I'm not.
There's an
saying that
arcade
that is the
cabinet,
case.
and you play the whole entirety of that game.
It just has such a level of polish. Like you can tell that they've worked on this for ages.
Christ, they've had enough time.
I know, but I'm glad that they did, because what they've pushed out is genuinely quite special.
Yeah.
Like, I have the biggest Final Fantasy VII boner in the world, but even if I didn't, this is a brilliant game. It plays fantastically. The side missions are brilliant. The world is so vibrant. They've brought Midgard to life in a way it's never been seen before, even with Advent Children. And wow.
The things that the extra story beats, like obviously this first game isn't the entire story, and they always said that they were going to add more to the story and make parts bigger and give characters bigger roles and everything like that. Obviously, we've always had the concern of, like, is that just going to be frivolous padding here and there? And I can tell you now, again, this isn't everything I say, nothing is a spoiler. I'm just to stop me saying that, right? I am 11 hours in, and I have only just crashed through the church roof.
Spoilers.
Fuck's sake, you asshole. Right?
How did I know they didn't take that
obviously-
bit out? Maybe like, that's a stupid fucking part of the game. Take it out.
No, all the original story beats are in.
Spoilers.
Right. So I fucking hate you, Eric, so much. So, like, for if you've played the original, you know that that's very, very early on. So there has been a lot of game leading up to that point, and none of it has felt like padding. Everything has been an enhancement to the story, an enhancement to the characters. Areas that have been made bigger, that you only spent a very small amount of time in before, they don't feel like they've been made bigger for no reason. They're, like Dan said, they've been brought to life in certain ways. I can't wait until the next show so that we still won't spoil it on the next show, but we can kind of embellish on these things that I'm saying now without spoiling it for anyone who hasn't played it yet.
So I think with our next show, because we do have it slated as being a Final Fantasy VII extravaganza, we should probably at some point put a little disclaimer out there saying that, we're not going to spoil story beats, but if you don't want to know anything about this game, don't listen to that show, because that's exclusively what we will be talking about.
Yeah, I think it'll be a case of very, very minor spoilers we'll probably mention. When I say minor, they're not going to ruin the plot or anything new, but it'll be a case of this area is kind of a bit like this. There is this extra story beat put in from this character, but we won't tell you what happens there, but we'll tell you we go off to do that and things like that.
Yeah.
It'll be kind of that degree of spoilers, but we'll give you guys a heads up before we go into that.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about it, Eric, which you will probably love as well, is the soundtrack. Like, they have knocked it out of the park.
Let me tell you about this soundtrack. Tom and
I know you've got the records, but the the way they've done it is they've used the tracks from the old game, obviously, but they've got new ones as well. But they've also remixed like versions of the old ones which play in different situations depending on where you are. And the amount of battle themes they've got is ludicrous.
Interesting.
Oh,
there's an area I was in, and Dan's obviously been through this, but there was an area where I was in where it was kind of like a new piece of music, but underneath that piece of music was like the battle theme underneath. So like as you were traversing, and obviously you were going into battles throughout, the battle theme was always kind of there in the background as part of this new piece.
I noticed this in the demo that like music would kind of fade in and out and layer on top of each other. It was
it increases in tempo depending on if you're in a battle or if depending which situation you're in.
One little question: in the market, does it still have the tune from the market? Is that still there?
Spoilers.
No, I don't think. I think it's slightly different, but it is used before that in a different section.
But I won't say where. I won't say where, but like, even though obviously we're in Midgar and we've not hit the world map yet, or anything like that, the world map music is there at some point, and it sounds fucking amazing. It really, really does.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah,
but even with the lack of world map, because they've expanded on Midgar so much, it feels huge, like actually huge. Whereas, imagine for the example, the bit where you go to Tifa's bar, Seventh Heaven. That bit is very small in the original. That bit is huge now.
Oh wow!
With people everywhere talking and living their lives and things going on. And
like when you go from like the train to the bar, that is quite a stretch.
Yeah.
And you're talking to lots of people. Yeah, okay. That's cool.
And I will embellish on this more next week. I don't think we should go into this too much, but you guys probably had a feel of this from the demo playing as Barrett and Cloud, but obviously once you get Cloud, Barrett, and Tifa in battle, every single character feels so unique in their own way. Obviously, Final Fantasy VII was kind of guilty of... Most of the characters were kind of... other than limit breaks, they were kind of the same. But now, honestly, they all have the completely unique fighting styles. They're all great against certain enemies and bad against certain enemies. And some enemies, you'll have to use a specific technique. I mean, this was in the demo, so this isn't a spoiler unless you've not played the demo. The shock guards, the shock troopers, those kind of weird blue guys with the sort of gun arms.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys, for example, the best way to beat them was to put Cloud in Punisher mode, block, and then wait for his counterattack to work, because otherwise you couldn't hit them otherwise unless you're using magic. Similar things like that, where you have to use certain abilities with certain characters to be able to beat certain enemies.
It does a fantastic job of making sure that you want to use your different characters.
Yeah.
And like good. Tifa is so satisfying to play as, man. She's so good.
She's so fucking cool.
And I can't decide if I'm in love with her or Aerith more, so it's up in the air at the moment. We'll see how we feel.
Why not both? There's a secret cutscene later in the game.
But also Jesse as well is throwing it in the mix this time as well. So
I'm glad that Jesse, Biggs, and Wedge are apparently bigger parts of the game.
Yeah, so they do. They have much bigger roles now, and if what happens, obviously I'm not there yet. Dan is past there. Please don't spoil this for me, Dan. If they go in the same
at the
way,
end.
fuck's sake! If they didn't get crushed by the plate, a spaceship came and took them away. If they go out the same way that they do in the original, it's going to be fucking heartbreaking because I'm getting attached to the characters.
I'm saying nothing. Spoilers.
But no, I am. I'm getting you do get very attached to them as characters, and
I know everybody's wondering. And yes, my house is thoroughly basted from the bottom to the top.
That is the most disgusting thing you've ever said.
God, basted. Like a plasterer's radio.
But yeah, my concern. Oh God, my concern has been since we've had this. Like, I don't want to come across like we're bragging that we got it early. We're really excited that we got it early.
Fucking hell, brag to the high heavens about it.
But no, I can't honestly wait for everyone else to play this, especially you two. As in you and Eric, not the band.
Yeah.
I couldn't care less.
Like I said, I don't get us wrong. I'm glad I've got it. I'm enjoying it lots, but I would have preferred if we all got it together.
Yeah.
Well, let's just hope Tom and I can get it.
Yeah, hopefully.
Did you see that they're allowing preloads like days early because it's 100 gig download?
Yeah.
That's the same with PSN always, Eric. You get a week before it comes out. For preloads on pre-orders. For the big games, anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it took a good hour to install on my PS4.
Damn.
I don't know how long it took on mine because I got home and we had to go grocery shopping. I was like, In you go, install. I will play you when I
So
come
it's
back.
just the 2-disc thing. It's like, I think it was similar with Red Dead. One's a data disc, so you chuck that in and install it, and then you put the other disc in. So it's not like a disc swappy situation like it was back in the
That's
day.
what I forgot to mention about RE3 that kind of pissed me off too. I put the disc in because obviously that's not a game I can play when the kids are up. So right before dinner, I popped the disc in, like, let's just let this shit install, be rip-roaring ready to go. 8:30 when the kids are in bed, come downstairs. Hadn't done a goddamn thing because it's the only one I've ever come across, and maybe there's other ones out there, but it didn't automatically install because it has RE3 and then it has Resistance on there, and you have to choose which one you want.
Let me take you back to the last show, Eric, where Dan kept telling you about how this current generation, there's games where you can choose to install certain sections of the game or not, and you were adamant that this was going to be a new thing on the next generation of consoles.
It is a new thing because I've never, in the 100 PS4 games I have, it has never done that where it says pick which part you want to install. Modern Warfare, you could install, you had to install the game, but then you could choose to install the multiplayer.
You make me furious, Eric.
I've got you back, Dan.
Fuck off.
Thanks.
Tell me one other game that's done that, where it physically
Warfare.
makes you choose one of the other.
Nobody can stop Mr. Domino.
Yeah.
No.
Like I put it in and it shows the Resident Evil 3 little block icon, and then below it, there's 2 different options to choose from. Everyone that I've come across that has that alternative, it installs the main game and gives you the option to install the multiplayer.
I think, what's it called? Redout Lightspeed Edition on PS4 has it. Same with Black Sad Under the Skin.
You're just reading
On
shit
PS4.
now.
Black Sad.
Yeah.
So shit
Black Sad
nobody
Under the
plays.
Skin. And no, people do.
You'd probably buy it if it was a penny on the Switch eShop.
I actually have read out on the Xbox One because it was
XCOM 2 has a multiple download system.
See, I just put the disc in the Xbox and it started installing both sections anyway. They were separate
And-
installs, but it started doing it.
Garfield
Um,
Kart Furious Racing.
But I didn't realize this was going to be a pre-order bonus. So it surprised me when I got an email the day before, or it was the day before I actually got it, was a DLC code for my copy to have the classic costumes. So you have Jill in her like tube top and miniskirt, and then Carlos has his original hair rather than the big fuzzy.
Oh, his hair sucks in
He's
this.
got. Did you not get the DLC, Eric?
Fucking dumb. But I actually have been playing another game that transitions into our G-Man of the Week. I picked up a little VR game called Half-Life Alyx.
Never heard of it.
Ooh, buddy.
What's the installation of that like?
Not long, because it was a PC game, and my PC downloads things pretty quick. I think it took maybe 10 minutes. But it was a huge game. Real big game. But I had to buy a link cable because I only have the Oculus Quest. So did a bunch of
I've
research.
only got a Zelda cable.
Let's move on.
Damn it.
Yeah, this game is something else. I had to go through and find the right connection cable for my Quest to hook up to the PC. I thought it was going to be a whole lot more difficult than it really was. It was just plugging it in via USB 3, have your Oculus app open, and then open Steam VR, and it automatically connects your Oculus to Steam VR, and you have full access to the Steam library of VR games. And
Shit.
fucking hell, this game is something else. It is unlike, take the best VR experience you have ever had and magnify it. It is just
It's like the first AAA VR game, really, isn't it?
It is
That's what it is.
genuinely a AAA game. It is not just a VR experience. Even like Blood and Truth, it was really cool, but it kind of just felt like this experience. Like, okay, I can tell I'm in VR, and
No.
yeah,
The full game.
yeah, it was a full game, but
With story. What? How are we defining the boundaries here? You can't just move the goalpost whenever you fucking like it.
have you seen me? Have you met me?
It's kicking off.
Hey, it was my number 2. It was my number 2 last year. Stella.
Well, you need to get
You hear me?
Half-Life Alyx.
I can't. I had to pay $1,000 if I want to play that game.
Worth
New
it.
PC, headset.
Worth it.
I think
I'm
that'll
sure it is.
100% come out on PS5.
I don't know. It's pretty intensive.
Yeah, so is the PS5.
I don't know if it's going to be yeah. Anyway, the physics engine
you
in
wanna see
this
the deep
Didn't you
dive,
listen to
Dad?
Mark Cerny? Jesus Christ.
brilliant guy right there.
Yeah, so interesting, man.
Yeah.
He's cracking. He just sends me straight off to the landing nod. I just put him on when I go to bed. Lovely.
You change it so he's whispering, so it's like Mark Cerny ASMR.
He pretty much does that anyway.
The PS5's sound unit will be much better.
Compression.
What?
Kraken compression.
Kraken compression.
Yeah.
Cracking compression.
Yeah. You'd be terrible at ASMR.
No, I wouldn't. Rally Horn, welcome to ASMR with Dan. Can I interest you while I rustle a boiled owl near the microphone?
How relaxing.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Bye, Tom.
Hi, Tom.
Hey,
Hi, Tom.
Hello.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on, Eric. I'm intrigued by Half-Life.
Are you?
Just don't tell me the plot, because
Are you?
Want me to
Because
help
it
start?
seems
I'm
like
massively jealous.
it
that
seems
I
like
don't get to play
anytime
this.
I try to explain anything,
it's only plots.
I don't know. Let's refer back to the Mega Man Zero episode.
Yeah, when you were explaining the plot.
Oh, God. What do you want to know?
I don't know. Well, tell us about You've said that it's good, but why is it good?
Well, I started to, and then you went off on your whole little link cable bullshit. And
I said one sentence,
oh, God.
and you carried on after that. So,
So,
look, this is what the people want: silly Tyson jokes by the minute.
Debatable.
just standing there throwing spokes and wheels. It's really hard to give you a basis of comparison of what this game truly is because it is that groundbreaking in terms of VR experience. The level of interaction within the world is absolutely incredible. Almost everything you can pick up and interact with in some fashion. And that right there is an extremely rewarding aspect of the game because they hide things everywhere. Extra clips and resin to upgrade your weapons will be hidden under boxes beneath a desk or a filing cabinet tucked behind something else where you have to move something and pull out a filing cabinet drawer and shuffle some shit around and you find stuff down there. There is shit absolutely everywhere. But pretty early on, you get, I forget the exact name of them, but you get a pair of gloves that allow you to basically force pull things from a distance. So you don't necessarily have to walk all the way over there. You can just kind of point your hand at it and then flick it towards you and it'll come flying at you and you can grab it out of the air. So that comes in handy for just pulling things towards you that are at a distance. But if you're also fighting with someone, you can pull an object from a distance. Like if your gun runs out of ammo, you can pull an object from a distance, hit them with it, give yourself a little bit of time. But where Half-Life is sort of a really fast-paced run-and-gun shooter, this is the exact opposite. It almost borderlines on horror because you can't run and gun in this. There are several modes of movement, and I tried playing with the continuous movement where, like in Farpoint, you could just move the joystick and you would actually be moving, but I got way too motion sick. So I actually switched it to the blink movement where you just teleport really quick between places. And I never thought I'd actually enjoy a VR game where you have teleportation. But for me, this is the only way that I can play it. And it's actually become the most enjoyable way because I can stay in the world for longer. I think the longest session I've had in this is probably an hour and a half, almost 2 hours in one straight go. Whereas using continuous movement, I can hit maybe 20 minutes. Just get too motion sick with it.
I remember reading about the development on the lead up to this, and that was the big thing the developers were trying to push because of how long of a game this is. They want to try and push people to be in that world for as long as possible on any single time.
Yeah, and it's such an engaging world to be in, too. A lot of the reviews pointed out, like, the very first section, you walk into this greenhouse-type room, and there are dry erase markers everywhere, and you can just start writing on shit. Just things like that are what really immerse you into the world. But the level of tension and a level of detail is incredible. With an FPS, you expect you run out of ammo, quickly press a button, you reload. This is not that game. You have to physically think through everything that you're doing. So, for example, a zombie with a head crab comes ambling towards you and you fire 2 bullets at it and you run out of ammunition. It's not just a quick button press. You have to press a button, fires out your clip. You have to reach over your shoulder, pull out another clip, jam it in, and then you have to actually pull the slide back to chamber the first round. And that all takes time. Meanwhile, this enemy is ambling towards you, and it sounds easy, but in the moment, you're immersed. You're there. He's coming at you. You're terrified. There might be a head crab in the distance coming towards you, and you're just kind of like panicking through all of these motions. And eventually, you just grab something next to you and hit him with it to kind of push him away and give yourself a little bit more time. It's really an extremely tense situation.
I saw a video of somebody in a room picking up paint cans and turning them upside down and stuff falling out, and then they can pick up the stuff inside. Or there's like maybe a way of finding ammunition was physically with your hands clearing the shelves.
Oh yeah,
to find ammo boxes. I thought that was really cool.
That's what's so cool about it for me. Like these actual physical things in the environment. I think that's what a lot of VR games have been missing. Like I watched the first like level of it, where he just went down the stairs and you could even like knock picture frames on the walls and they would like slant and that is just incredible.
What's
levels
really
of detail.
neat about the Oculus controllers is that it detects not even button. It detects button presses, but it also detects if your fingers are just resting on the button, and that manipulates your fingers in some fashion. So if you're squeezing it, obviously you're going to make a fist or you're going to grab something. But the haptic feedback within the controllers is so minute, where you put your hand on something and you'll see her fingers like wrap around the edges of it instead of it just being a flat hand. Like it'll grip around the top edges of a corner or something like that. But
nice.
It's such a unique experience. And Tom, I know you'll probably get into this later, but you have a severe aversion to the barnacles.
Oh my God.
They by far are the most terrifying creature in Half-Life Alyx that I've come across so far. It's just that seeing what we've played today is the first Half-Life to where it is now. They've expanded the world, and I played a ton of Half-Life 2, and it's just like being home again. You come in and here's this world that you've experienced years and years and years ago so many times, but now you pop into it and it's more fully fleshed out, kind of like what you were talking about with Final Fantasy VII, Dan, where this is what I imagined it to be like. But man, it's cool. I just wish that you guys all had an avenue in which to play it, because it is bar none the best VR game I have ever played.
Yeah, it's just a shame that it's locked away for so many people. That's the shame about it. And I think if PS5 has its new PSVR system, I think it will probably be ported to it.
Yeah,
at some point.
The thing is, I don't think we're getting. Let's call it PSVR 2 for the sake of arguments. We're not going to get a PSVR 2 within the first year of the PS5, because just on marketing alone, like they're not going to release a new console and then release a peripheral for it that in the general market could be quite confusing.
Yeah.
And would probably cost the same as the new console itself.
Yeah, they have said it's compatible with the original though, so it'd be interesting to see if it could give the original
but now
a
you're
boost.
putting you're putting 2 generation old technology on it. You're only going to be as strong as your weakest link, and the weakest link is how shitty the PSVR tracking can be.
What about the weakest Zelda?
Good work, Dan.
God almighty.
Proud of you.
Oh, no. No.
Chandler May and a Tyson.
Yeah.
Got the hair for it.
Just need the beard. Working on it.
You chickened out of the last beard growth.
I know. I'm getting an isolation beard now.
Good work. I like your style. Yeah, so I am jealous that you get to play it, Eric. I admit I haven't looked at any footage of it, so I couldn't even tell you what it looks like, to be honest. I don't think I even saw an actual trailer for it, but it sounds cool. And
the unfortunate thing is that no pictures or video actually does any justice to what actually playing it feels like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, just being able to. So it's really neat how they handle inventory management. It took me a while to figure out how to switch your gun, but you press in on the right stick, and this little menu pops up that you just move your hand above. Like top is your gun, bottom you have this little electronic device where you can manipulate things. But all your ammunition is stored over your shoulder. So if you want to reload your gun, you have to pull a clip out from over your shoulder. But you only have 2 inventory slots to hold things, and those are in your wrists. And you can store either a canister for health, or you can store an injection shot, or any other item that you find, but you can only carry 2 things at any given time. It's such a unique way to approach this Half-Life universe.
Interesting.
No.
What's the hand tracking like on it? Because I know that like the hand tracking is a new feature on
It's really
the
good.
Quest you've got, isn't it?
It's really good. I think that's one of the main things that I like about the Quest is that I didn't have to set up any external sensors. Unfortunately, I'm tethered by a 10-foot cable, but
yeah. So do you think this is why because the finger tracking on the Quest is quite a new feature, and it's kind of still in beta. It's still in beta, isn't it?
I'm sorry, the finger tracking is not supported by Half-Life Alyx.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not even supported by Steam VR. I thought you were just talking about in general the tracking of the controllers.
Is it not? I thought there was finger tracking in Alyx.
It's not supported by the Quest.
Yeah, but I thought like in the because what's the super duper one that it's actually made for? The Rift. Yeah, that I'm sure if you're playing it on that it has finger tracking. So
I'll need to check into it because that'd be friggin' sweet if it did.
Because what I was about to say do you think this is why they brought the finger tracking to the Quest to try and use it on this? But I think it's still technically in beta on the Quest, isn't it? The finger tracking.
It is.
Don't hold me to that. I have been wrong in the past.
Can you guys believe, though, like we've reached a point where there is not only Final Fantasy VII Remake in the hands of some people and coming out for everybody else very soon, but there is also a new Half-Life game.
And Resident Evil 3 Remake, don't forget that.
By all accounts, this is Half-Life 3.
Yeah, supposedly there's some plot
Valve has been.
that,
I think they said basically they were waiting for the tech to deliver on what they've always envisioned. And I can't remember their reasons for not making Half-Life. They said for Half-Life 2 Episode 3 they had an idea, but they couldn't get it off the ground because it was too complex.
Yeah,
or something.
The interesting thing is, I don't think people will be happy until they see something called Half-Life 3, even if this is essentially Half-Life 3.
Yeah, but
people aren't going to be content until they get that title.
This is a 10 to 15...
It's the barrier of entry as well for this as well. That's the problem.
It's a 10 to 15 hour game. I mean, this is a full-fledged game. It's not just a, hey, here's Half-Life in VR. Like, this is a game.
Yeah.
This is the next Half-Life game.
And yeah, to be fair, they want to keep Half-Life special, and they've said they don't just want to put something out there if they're not completely happy with it. So they've never said never with Half-Life 3, because if somebody did come up with a good idea and they could really get it off the ground, or an episode 3 for Half-Life 2, then they would do it. But until that happens, just not going to see it.
Yeah, and this takes
I bet
place
over the years they've worked on that multiple times and scrapped different elements of it.
Yeah.
I bet people would probably be upset if they were to call this Half-Life 3, because it does take place between the events of 1 and 2.
Yes.
Yeah, but look at Metal Gear Solid 3 and 5.
Yeah. But those span decades.
I suppose, but it's no different to, Metal Gear Solid 3 takes place way before Metal Gear Solid 1.
That's true.
Spoilers.
Metal Gear Solid 5 takes place between fucking Metal Gear Solid 3 and Peace Walker, and then later Metal Gear Solid 1, so...
Big boss.
Big boss.
Except he doesn't speak in 5.
Yeah. This is true. Then his voice is all wrong. It's all wrong, I tell you.
It's all wrong. I hate it.
Yeah. So,
Go on then, Tom.
Last of Us 2 have been delayed.
Oh, yeah.
What a dick punch. You didn't like my cynical approach on this one, Mike.
No, I didn't.
You have to understand that that has to have been factored into it in some capacity.
Remind me again what you said.
This was delayed indefinitely until. Here's my take on it. This is based on nothing other than my own opinion. They delayed this until the pandemic is over because they can't risk their massive flagship IP not selling well.
I don't 100% disagree with you. I did say it's a bit of a cynical outlook, and the things that have come out since you said that as well, kind of. I hate to say this, show you as like you are a little bit right on that front.
Well, look what
I stress the words a little bit.
Look what movies have done. Like Onward, for example, that hit theaters over spring break just before everything started shutting down. They've already pushed that out to Disney Plus. Final Fantasy VII. I think had Final Fantasy VII not already gone gold and started shipping to distributors or gone for production, they probably would have seen a delay on it.
I don't know. I disagree with you on Final Fantasy VII because I, as you guys know, because I've referenced them I listen to Kind of Funny quite a lot, and they have at the moment on their staff. Well, he's kind of a part timer. They have a guy called Imran Khan who he basically used to work for. Forget what's the name. What's GameStop's magazine? Game Informer. That's it. And he generally the stuff he used to report from there. He was reliable. He was not as great as Jason Schreier, obviously, but he was reliable and he has his sources and stuff like that. And when he's appeared on Kind of Funny recently, he's said that as it stands, game releases there might be a little bit of shortage of physical releases, but in terms of April, everything should be fine. In terms of May, things get a bit sketchy. If you're thinking about a game release in June at the moment, you might just be fucked. It's kind of like you don't know. Like May's kind of fucked. June is like we don't know as it stands. But everything for April should be fine, according to him, and I believe him. So I think Final Fantasy VII either way would have been coming out.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Last of Us was supposed to be July, right?
It was May, wasn't it?
No, May.
Oh,
May 29th.
Okay.
End of May.
Oh yeah, right.
May 29th.
God,
so
that really.
But you see,
there's things come out saying that they have said that that they want the release to be as big as possible. So you are kind of right on that. But they said there's logistical problems. I mean, these things are booked so far in advance, getting them out to places and things like that. And when they say logistical, I imagine that also means the staff that's working on it at the moment. I mean, Jason Schreier tweeted out the day after all this came out that apparently, even though they're all working from home, staff are still crunching on this. And I don't know if they've now got an indefinite release date, like that takes the stress of crunching off of people.
It's going to make the game just that much better.
Sorry?
It's going to make the game that much better.
Well, yeah, hopefully. I mean, Sony have gone the right way. I mean, good guy Sony recently, they've not only have they donated millions to COVID-19 causes, they've also all of their staff, and I think this has included some of the Naughty Dog developers, they've given them one, they're paying them 100% of their pay, even if they're not working all the time, technically full-time working anymore, but they also gave a lot of them a stipend of $1,000 so they can go out and actually get the equipment to be able to work from home properly. And stuff like that. Yeah, they're being really good about it all. But
see, to that point though, I think it's what we can tell from this is that this shit's not going to be over anytime soon.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And
but I mean, also another way to look at it, Eric, granted, a Resident Evil 3 has just came out, and I will comment on the first cutscene of Resident Evil 3 in a moment, but is Last of Us a little bit close to home at the moment?
Yeah.
Games are in some ways an escape, and I don't know, we're constantly bombarded. I do feel bad that we're talking about it on the show, but unfortunately we do talk about recent events and recent game releases, and that is affected by everything that's going on in the world at the moment. But are people going to want to play a game about what is essentially a pandemic?
I would say yes, because I'm pretty sure I can't remember what film it is, but it went straight to the top of Netflix because people were watching it. Contagion, because of what's happening.
No, Outbreak. I'm sorry, it's Outbreak.
Yeah, it was something like that anyway, and that went straight at the top of Netflix. So I think people don't really care.
But wasn't in the 90s when that came out, wasn't there the SARS thing going on at that time too? And that was just top of the charts as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but Resident Evil, going to Resident Evil 3, which kind of says about my point here. The very beginning intro of Resident Evil 3 is live action footage, and like the first line is about a pandemic sweeping the nation under like when it's out of control and stuff, and you're a bit like grabbing your collar.
As long as bloody Nemesis doesn't start wandering around, then we don't need that.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like the thing is, don't get me wrong, I'm upset that it's like, no, well, not upset, it's probably a bit of an exaggeration. I'm sad that it's, going to be delayed and everything, but like Eric says, it's going to be potentially better, but there's more important things in the world right now.
Oh, fuck
and
yeah.
although,
way more.
Yeah, and although like we're a video game show, so we have to speak about the video games and we have to be disappointed and stuff. But when we say, "Oh God damn it," my game's been delayed. Let's face it, video games are toys, really, aren't they? Yeah. When we may sit here and we may sound that we're angry that we're not getting our toys as early as we thought we had and thought we were going to get them and everything like that. We are aware that there's more important things to worry about, but it's still shit, innit? It's not getting it when we wanted it to.
I guess
I'm weirdly not bothered about The Last of Us. It wasn't really on my radar because my life has been consumed by the hype for Final Fantasy VII. So.
And let's be honest, I've never really wanted a sequel to it. I thought that The Last of Us was great. Let's end it. Let's be one of those franchises. Like, man, I'd
have been really happy if they just left it.
Yep.
They didn't see the point personally.
I'm sure it's still going to be amazing though.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
It will, but just once, I want to see somebody create an IP that does what Last of Us did and go, perfect, and just leave it. Instead of like, oh man, that made $1 billion. Let's make 16 more of them.
Yeah. I'm going to do Dan Curtis' prediction and say that with the indefinite delay, if the PS5 and Xbox, well, not the Xbox, the PS5 still comes out this year, depending on what happens, I reckon it'll be launch title.
Well, Big Phil was on a podcast. He was on an IGN podcast earlier this week. Uncle Phil Spencer was. They were discussing on there. Is there sort of a plan B if everything that's going on in the world at the moment is going to delay the Xbox Series X? And he says at the moment, no plan B. We're still going full steam ahead. He says the main issue at the moment, like in terms of the hardware, everything should be fine. Their concern at the moment is software. Are places being able to develop the games and everything like that. But he seems
there's no point launching a platform if there's nothing to play on it. I mean,
yeah, true.
So I even launched the Xbox. Sorry.
But yeah, so if they're still going full steam ahead, I imagine that's what Sony have got at the moment. But I don't know. No one knows what's going to happen in a few months, do they? That's the issue as it stands, and it's going to be an interesting few months because things are going to kind of start just dropping off completely. I mean, obviously, games can be developed to a certain degree because people can work from home and everything like that. But just stepping out of game industry, looking at other forms of entertainment, Hollywood has shut down. TV studios have shut down. Eventually, we're going to run out of new stuff. There's a long-running TV show in the UK called EastEnders, and they, like, I don't watch it, it's a pile of shit, but they are normally 4 episodes a week so that they can preserve how long they can keep it going with new episodes. They've dropped down to 2 episodes a week at the moment. And that's a big deal because of how long they've been running and how long they've been running 4 shows a week. Eventually, they're just going to run out of episodes of it if this keeps going on any longer. Obviously, they've taped months in advance, but, films, we're going to run out of new movie releases. I mean, I'm really disappointed because Ghostbusters Afterlife has now been delayed until next year.
Jesus.
But they're going to have to delay these films to next year because in some ways, once all this is over, there's not going to be anything new for next year because the studios haven't been going. And this all relates back to gaming. If the studios aren't going as they should be, I mean, you can only do so much from home. How, you're not going to get the people developing games from home to put on a mocap suit and start mocapping in their bedroom, are you?
I'd do it.
I'd do it, yeah. It's one appears, like.
Yeah. No, but you know what I mean, though. It's very, very interesting times in the industry. I mean, in every facet of life. But, like I said, we're a gaming show, and it's, in terms of talking about that side of things, it's very, very interesting time. And I think one of the very interesting things here is Ghost of Tsushima. Is that slated for June or July? It's one of the J months. I can't remember which one. Here's the question. I completely
forgot about that.
Yeah, here's the question. If they delay The Last of Us and all of this blows over before then, do they delay Ghost of Tsushima until after Last of Us, or do they still keep Ghosts in the same place, or, what's going to happen with that? Because they were the two big tentpole games still coming for the PS4.
I say just push them out. If they can get it in the hands of people, then do it. If not, don't.
But yeah, going back to our original point, Eric, they have basically said that, they want it to be a big launch and everything like that. So it does come down to a little bit of what you're saying. So I don't completely disagree with you, but in some way, there is an economy in the business, isn't there? And I think if you suddenly decide to just shell it out all digital, keep it on the same date and shell it all out digital, how many businesses involved lose out, even your big things like Amazon, your brick and mortar stores and everything like that, This needs to be a big launch for them. And
well,
I think
I
think if it comes out as a whimper, it's could almost like tarnish that series.
Yeah.
And would you be willing to risk that to get it on time?
How many studios would they rely solely on the launch of that game to continue and fund their next game? So if it doesn't do well, I mean, that studio folds.
Yeah, exactly. There's an economy within the business that needs to kind of be withheld. So, I can see your point. I just thought your way of sort of going about it was a bit cynical, but that's just me.
I'm straight and to the point. I don't like to faff around.
I like how you've adapted faff into your repertoire.
Yeah, I know. It's like I talk to you
I think
too
it
much.
does it when you're around.
I just saw that one of my other games I was looking forward to got pushed indefinitely. Story of Season, Friends of Mineral Town used to have a release date. Now it just says TBD.
Oh, no.
Here's an interesting thing, because I think that, don't get me wrong, the big releases are probably going to get delayed and stuff like that. Also, sidebar, wonder what's going to happen with Cyberpunk. But anyway, back to my original point. I wonder, and I know, try to get past the physical loving collector people that you are for this to kind of actually discuss it. I wonder how everything's going on now is going to push the industry into digital distribution only that little bit quicker.
I think it's going to definitely aid in that progression.
And then it'll just go out the window when everything hopefully goes back to normal.
Because that's the human condition.
I imagine sales of Stadia have just skyrocketed because of everybody working from home, Mike.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to play the original Tomb Raider on the PS3 days.
Farming Simulator and Batman. Have they actually released anything for it for months?
Oh,
Farming Simulator? Yeah, there's tons of information on it.
All right, Tyson, calm down.
It's contagious, isn't it? Should we, Tom? Should we?
We should. This is Tom.
Is it me?
It's you.
Yeah.
It's always
I
you.
can't believe it's me. That's nuts. But you're right, it is. It's the G-Man of the week.
I love that it got stuck partway through.
And pixelated.
Yeah.
It's the G-Man messing with his camera settings.
Yeah. Well, we played Half-Life for the last 2 weeks. The original, OG, 1998.
OG.
Run,
Yeah.
think, shoot, live. That's the
Yeah,
original
run, think,
tagline.
shoot, live. Valve's first foray into game development. Headed up by Gabe Newell, man of the hour.
And in the process,
Who's he?
revolutionizing the genre entirely.
Revolutionizing the genre for sure, and also the introduction of, platforming really in FPS games. You didn't get that much with Doom, Quake, Unreal Tournament. Those were kind of like the big heavy hitters, Wolfenstein, prior to Half-Life in the FPS genre. But then Half-Life came along with its storytelling, platforming, puzzles, and always in the moment gameplay. You're never taken out of it. I think there's one cutscene in the whole game. So quite unique, super ahead of its time, and and it was on Windows, which is important to note because a lot of these games prior were on DOS, and so they made a stellar FPS available straight on Windows.
Yeah, I think Gabe Newell, I saw an interview with him recently where he actually said he set out to do that from the start to get this on Windows.
Yes, that was a big deal. I believe actually the first thing they did was they tried to get Doom on Windows. I think that was his first.
Oh yeah, that's what he said. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first thing he'd done.
Yeah, there's a really interesting interview with him on IGN about Half-Life Alyx and the history of Half-Life and what went on with Half-Life Episode 2 and things like that. So it's well worth a watch.
Yeah, he's a fascinating dude. Like any interviews he's in are really interesting because he's quite hard to get hold of. Kind of notoriously.
He seems incredibly intelligent.
Yes. Yeah, he really does. Super smart guy and a huge passion for gaming. And became a guy that people would always look towards for the next big release. Like this is why Half-Life 3 is so infamously talked about, because Valve just puts out incredible video games like Portal, Left 4 Dead, and not to mention all of the standalone mods that have come out of the Source engine as well. Counter-Strike, Day of Defeat, Sven Co-op, so many that I played over the years. I mean, I put...
Even Gary's mod.
And Gary's mod. The ragdoll physics that were introduced in Half-Life 2 with the gravity gun and all that kind of stuff.
Wasn't
there a really famous game made like
Stanley
using the Source
Parable
engine? Stanley's Parable, yeah.
Wasn't the original engine though? It was they originally licensed out the Quake engine, and they had to rewrite like 70 some odd % of it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then I think they started to work on that engine more, and then come up with their own proprietary one. That's where the Source engine obviously comes from.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I remember I chose for us to play Half-Life because it is a game 100% worth covering because it's kind of up there in the pantheon of video games. And
yeah, not just in first-person shooters, but in gaming as a whole.
Yeah, and absolutely, like a lot of the stuff that we play shows its age in good and bad ways, but a very important one for us to cover, I think. And as much as I would love to have covered Half-Life 2 because that does exceed it in every way amazingly, best to start with the original.
Yeah,
I think I said it to you earlier in the week though, Tom, like even though this feels like is a really old game, it still plays fantastically, and for its time it is genuinely quite superb what they managed to do.
It is, yeah.
The physics in it obviously the physics are elaborated more in Half-Life 2, but the way the physics work in the world and the actual level of interaction with the world is something that you hadn't really seen back in the day.
Yeah.
Well, just how smooth everything ran too.
Oh god, yeah. It runs like a dream on pretty much any modern computer now.
Oh my god, yeah.
Apart from mine.
Yeah. But also, yeah, Half-Life and its mods were the most played video game in my life for about 4 years. I actually only played Half-Life and its mods for about 3 straight years.
Jesus.
From when I was 16 till I went to university, I only played Counter-Strike and Day of Defeat and The Specialists. There were 3 popular mods for Half-Life. So I absolutely adore the universe and everything that's come out of it. There's other like not spin-offs, but there's like some standalone, I guess you could call them like modern day DLC / expansion packs, where you can play Half-Life from different perspectives. So they have Half-Life Blue Shift, which is where you play as one of the security guards through parts of the campaign from the original. A little bit like when
Blue
Resident
Shift
Evil...
itself as well was supposed to be as an exclusive add-on for the Dreamcast version that ended up getting cancelled. The Dreamcast version ended up getting cancelled due to quote a change in the market, which I think translates as
but I think the Dreamcast
was failing.
Yeah.
What's funny is that the Dreamcast and the Macintosh versions were completely done, just never released.
Yep. There's Opposing Force, which is where you play as the military that you come across in the original game.
Fuck those guys.
Yeah. And then, of course, they actually ported Half-Life to the Source engine. but it was basically a bit of it's not a great port. They just basically smoothed things up a little bit and not really done much else. So it was kind of a disappointing port, which is why Half-Life has never been given the sort of remake treatment until more recently, over the last sort of 10 years, maybe longer actually, 10 to 15 years. A group of fans actually got together, about 13 guys in total, to recreate Half-Life in the form of Black Mesa, which was actually made fully available about 2-3 weeks ago now, with the full release finally came out. And that is an incredibly gorgeous remake. Like, I can't believe that fans have put that out there, but Valve have actually put their stamp of approval on it, and
It's so good.
They invited half of the dev team, I believe, to like their offices and stuff, and it's kind of become a cool working relationship. I think this is what Valve do so well, is they're really close with their developers, not just in the house, but people do stuff with their engine and they get really excited about it. Like Counter-Strike was just made by some guy who just got hold of the engine and just made a team shooter, and now CSGO, look at what that is now, like one of the biggest esports games of all time. And it's just it's really speaks to them, their ethos as a developer house. They're something very special. And so for us to take on Half-Life this week, I thought would be really interesting to go through that.
Did anybody end up playing the PS2 version?
I did.
You did. So the PS2 is actually the first port that got a massive overhaul, and they redid character models, weapons, advanced extended levels, and map geometry. But they also had a co-op feature in there called Half-Life Decay that you and a friend could play as two female scientists at Black Mesa.
Unfortunately, I had no one to play that with, so I didn't get a chance to give it a try.
Oh.
I mean, I could have had a go with Hazel, but don't know, man. She doesn't even know that Mario runs, so...
She's too busy staring at your neighbor.
I found something else.
Exactly.
I found something else here about the Dreamcast version. Apparently, it leaked onto the internet at one point and was proven fully playable, but the leak contains the full versions of Half-Life and Blue Shift, both with an early version of the high definition pack.
Oh, nice.
I need to look that up.
Yeah, because the pack came with the high definition pack came with Blue Shift, didn't it? So you could basically make the original version of Half-Life look better by buying Blue Shift.
Yes.
And then
Apparently,
you get
the saving mechanism on the Dreamcast is really inconsistent too. As you get towards the end of any given level, it requires more VMU blocks to save. Yeah. But as you clip into the next level, it goes back down to not needing many. So it just grows through the course of each level.
Yeah.
And you could use the console's mouse and keyboard.
Oh yeah, of course.
God, the Dreamcast was so fucking cool. So
it
ahead
really
of its
was.
time.
Very cool console.
Damn it, Sega.
No piracy protection and just too ahead.
Too far ahead of its time.
Yeah, man.
But so, Mike, you played PS2. Dan, what did you play on?
Steam.
You played the original or Black Mesa?
Original.
Yeah, that's what I played as well. And Tom, you did Black Mesa, right?
I did Black Mesa, but I also
Can
played...
I just bring up the fact that I made Dan type out that Final Fantasy VII is the worst this week?
You did.
So Dan was trying to finish Half-Life before because it was given away for free. Well, it had a free trial version on Steam for a little while that ended earlier this week. So Dan was trying to get it finished before then, and it didn't happen. So I said to him, "Well, do you want me to? Do you want to just log into my Steam so that because obviously the save is on your computer. So if you log into my Steam, I own it. You can just carry on playing." I was like, "Okay then, yeah, let me borrow it. Let me just quickly change the password because there's." I don't want you knowing my password for normal password for Steam, and FF7 is the worst.
How'd that feel, Dan, to type that in?
Painful.
Was it dirty?
Just FYI, everyone, I have changed my Steam password back. So if you're listening to this, don't try to log into my Steam.
So he says.
It's now Stadia is the best.
Exactly.
Yes.
I initially started playing on Black Mesa, but then I decided I needed to actually complete the original in its original form. So switch
Yeah,
back to
that's
that.
fair.
Yeah, considering that's the game we're meant to be playing, yeah, you probably should.
Yeah, well, tell Tom that.
Well, I've played the original to death, so I
Yeah.
thought I'd take this opportunity to go through Black Mesa.
It is good. I've played about 2 hours of Black Mesa. It's something.
It's a lot longer. There's a lot. They've changed a bunch of game design to sort of match more modern conventions. Yeah, they've done some really cool stuff. It's really incredible.
It looks incredible. I watched some footage of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. Fair play to those guys, and also it's worked out really well for them to happen to release it right around when Alex came out.
Yeah.
So it's really increased their sales and exposure, which
Yeah.
they had no intention of doing. They were really explicitly pushing patches out for this thing every few months. They were keeping people updated with.
I think I bought it a year ago for a couple bucks.
We
Oh,
bought
so
it
you
at the
do
same
actually
time,
buy
actually.
it. I wasn't sure if it was just a mod or not.
No, it's
No,
a full game.
It's a standalone. Yeah.
It's so interesting that Valve's allowed that to happen.
I'm
Like,
sure they take a big cut.
for example, Nintendo and Sega are notorious for clamping down on people trying to do, not Sega, Nintendo really, notorious for clamping down on fan remakes and things. But Sega
Yeah.
embraced it with Sonic Mania because of the fan game community around Sonic.
Amazingly, yeah, that's the thing though. They seem to really encourage it because there's another project going on as well. Another team is remaking the original Half-Life again with I think it's with the Unreal Engine.
Oh.
It's called Project Lambda. If you look that up, if you look at they've done the intro, the commuter train section. In
The most riveting
Unreal.
part of the game.
Yeah, but to be fair, like just looking at the graphics, I mean, they've really it's even better than Black Mesa looking. But Christ,
Oh, wow.
to go through all that again, I guess it gets a lot of love and treatment. The original. I don't think development is particularly far along, but
Jesus. Looks good.
Well, Half-Life 3 might be out by the time they're done.
right, exactly. Did you guys play many of the mods back in the day, like, or you're not really
No,
not
I didn't.
so much into it?
No,
It's-
I'm familiar with Gary's mod. I've seen
Yeah.
lots of daft YouTube compilations like using Gary's mod to kill G-Man in 100 ways
Right.
and
Yeah, I
things
remember
like that.
those. I remember. Obviously, I played thousands. I don't even want to know how many thousands of hours I put into Counter-Strike. But
You were playing Counter-Strike quite a bit last year, weren't you?
yeah, I got CS:GO, and I kind of scratched the itch again to play some multiplayer squad stuff. And it's the same game, which is amazing. They've not really changed that much. It's just some like, quality of life stuff, and it looks prettier, but it's basically the same balanced shooter, which is really awesome. Shame about all the loot box stuff in there. It's like you don't have to take part in it, but it becomes a bit of a status thing in these games. Like Fortnite's the same. Like it's like if you want to really like flaunt how much you spent on the game by showing what skins you're wearing, all this kind of stuff. There's this weird economy that we're seeing in these multiplayer games, which isn't particularly appealing, but gameplay wise, it's the same thing. But I played, as well as CS, I played Day of Defeat, which was like a World War II shooter, and that was good fun. And a game called The Specialists, which was less popular, but it was basically a Matrix mod. Like they actually got like the original, like a bunch of maps from the Matrix movie and remodeled them, and you could go into bullet time and flip through the air and stuff. And it was just, you could play in third person. It's all done in the original Half-Life engine. Like apparently,
I didn't know. I've never even heard of these.
Yeah, apparently it's a really nice engine to work with. But there was like 20 mods at least. Sven Co-op, which was playing parts of the original Half-Life and other chapters in obviously co-op with a friend. Which back in 2000 was awesome to be playing first-person co-op shooters. PC gamers had it made in those days because this is way before we had like Xbox Live and NetPlay and stuff like that. So it was good times.
My memories of this game was I actually had a pirated copy that I bought. I had 3 discs. I had the original and I had Blue Shift, and then I had one with Counter-Strike on as well. Oh,
Yeah.
I had opposing force and blue shift on one, and then Counter Strike on the last one. I think it was.
Nice.
And I remember, like, obviously it was back when we still had dial up, and I had to go on Counter Strike and just got obliterated, and it just didn't quite work properly on our PC that we had anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is my, like, you know, I remember the old days of kind of pirating stuff on old Windows and having to get a crack for it and everything.
Yes, classic. Or a
I
key
did that,
generator.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember at the time, because as I always say on the show all the time, I'm not the first person shooter guy, and boy could I tell when I was playing this, because, you know, I will admit I didn't finish this, mainly because I started getting frustrated at the point I was at, and then, well, no, the minor reason was that, but secondly, I got RE3 and Final Fantasy 7, so this definitely dropped off.
Understandable.
But you know, I think Half-Life was actually the first ever game I played with mouse and keyboard. Back when I had these copied versions, because we had a PC, and Half-Life was always this, because we never had a PC before, and then, you know, Half-Life was this kind of I don't know, this almost sort of mystery that me and other console gamers just didn't really know about or anything like that. Or you'd know someone with a decent PC and they'd be playing it, and you'd hear about how good it was and everything. And when I found out I could get copied versions, and I got the copied version, started playing it, I remember just that opening section where you're on the train, but you're in control of it. Like you take things like this for granted now, but the fact that just the intro, you're just there, and you are just sat on a train, and you're introduced to this world through your own eyes, and it's not through a cutscene or anything like that. And it definitely felt special from that beginning bit. And then that whole thing that you were saying, where they wanted it to be, you know, you were experiencing it rather than just watching a cutscene. You know, you go in there, you start your day at work, and it's Gordon Freeman obviously, but you're controlling him. You start your day at work, you go and get your suit from your locker, you then go and start doing the experiment, and it's you actually controlling everything within the experiment that creates everything that starts happening. You create the situation, so to speak. Obviously it's an accident, but you know, rather than just being told this is what is happening. And that was very special at the time, and
it still is, really.
It was.
And it also doesn't handhold as well. It doesn't say, like, go here. Everything that's told for you to do is told through interactions with people in the environment, rather than just an arrow saying go there.
Yeah.
And it's up to you throughout to figure out what to do, which is really
going
cool.
to your lockers to try and find the suit. You kind of follow. Like, there's lines on the wall, like on a hospital, where it's like like in some hospitals where it's like follow the blue line to get to here, or the red line for this. And, you know, the easiest way to find where the staff facilities are is to follow one of those lines that says staff facilities and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, it's cool. That first chapter is really important, because it's about establishing that this is just another day at work for Gordon Freeman, and this is business as usual. He's the guy that will put on the hazmat suit and go into
rock up late
and go to a test chamber and do some science stuff, and there's going to be no change to his day. So it sets the scene really well. And to go on your point with, you're always experiencing the story without any breaks. That is interesting too. Like, when you're walking around as Gordon, you actually hear passing conversations, and so you can stop and walk into the group of scientists and actually communicate with them and listen to what they're talking about, and then you can easily miss that if you just breeze through.
Yeah, the dialogue's not mastered very well either, so it's quite hard to hear at times.
Yeah, the voice acting is not great. The dialogue's pretty stunted. It shows its age there for sure. But the idea is cool.
There's only actually 4 separate scientists, and all the security guards are the same guy as well.
The talking old dude is my favorite.
Yeah.
The Einstein-looking dude.
Yeah, the stereotypical professor-looking scientist guy. But it reminds me, just, you know, you think of console games recently when you're walking around and you see little speech bubbles appear. I know Persona does it. I know the Yakuza games do it. There's a bunch. And you get like these, overhearing dialogue. It makes the place feel alive. It's not just you in this world. There's people with their own goals and their own jobs to do.
Final Fantasy 7 Remake does it as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of playing it again now, I kind of appreciate it. That I was like, oh wow, this is crazy. It's 22 years old, man.
Yeah, the level of
Sometimes
detail
we go
is
back
quite
to these-
special.
Yeah.
Going back to old games like we do, sometimes how dated the games feel obviously give us a certain view of them, and we sometimes, I think sometimes we are a little bit unfair on some games that we review. Like some games we do play are shit, but sometimes I admit we probably are a little bit unfair because of how it's how dated they are. I mean, I definitely didn't give Conker's Bad Fur Day a fair rap, to be fair, because of how dated it felt, and I struggled with it. But
Yeah.
this one, in many ways it is dated, but it's that immersion, and even though like you said, the dialogue's stunted, and like Dan said, it's not mastered very well, it is that level of immersion that despite it being a dated game, you still feel that way. You still feel immersed.
Yeah.
And it is magic that a game that came out in 1998 can still hook you in that way. And considering it's that kind of level of immersion, and the way they do it from you being within the world and getting the story within the world is, it's so prevalent these days. It's a normal thing. Like this still pulls you in when you started playing it, even with obviously the kind of sketchy old school graphics. Because let me tell you, the PS2 version of this isn't pretty.
That's where you kind of have to be careful going back to it, though. And I did at points fall victim to this, where I've become conditioned with first-person shooters to just pull the trigger and run, and the game will stop you when it's time for exposition. And there were several times where I got to a point like, I'm not quite sure what's going on here. And you just kind of have to revert back and be like, all right, that's this type of game. I need to be a little bit more controlled in how I'm going through it.
Yeah. Like if you went too far ahead, you're like, well, this door's not opening. Oh, it's because I have to engage in this conversation with the scientists so that they can scan me through. That
If they want to, sometimes they don't bother, which meant I had to reload a save because he would not move.
Yeah, that it's a bit,
Or those security guards standing behind the box when you shoot the boxes, and they take a bullet and they're like, "That's it, buddy."
I just remember how, like, going to your point, Mike, when you were playing it and you thought, well, yeah, this is something a bit special. When you actually go into the test chamber, and it's a really pivotal point in Half-Life and so well recognized and remembered, when you have to push the specimen into the center of the core to initiate the experiment, and things obviously start going wrong, the game doesn't pause. It's just, there's just, yelling from the scientists, things exploding, like lasers shooting out, whatever, and you can still move. You can still traverse around that chamber, and you're like, the fuck's going on? What am I supposed to do? Oh, nothing. I'm just experiencing this disaster right now. I'm expecting a scripted event, but no, the script is playing out, and I still have full agency. And I just don't remember ever playing anything quite like that before.
Well, you even still, like, during that, when the experiment goes wrong, you for a very brief moment get transported to the alien world, don't you? And even you're still controlling it. You can move around the monsters and everything.
Yeah, at that point I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Because what is this event? This event is called the Cascade Resonance, right?
Resonance Cascade.
Resonance Cascade.
Yeah. And they have that kind of back and forth with the scientists. Like, there is a minor chance it'll happen, but it's very, very unlikely. And
numbers are within acceptable variance.
Anybody clock the G-Man at the start?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, pretty.
I think I saw him about 3 or 4 times throughout.
I saw him twice, I think.
There's a bunch of places you can catch him if you're quick. I can't remember how many there are exactly, but there are quite a few moments where you can see the G-Man in the corner, like, just quickly darts off into another room. Or
is this the dude in the suit carrying the briefcase?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I obviously I didn't finish, but I spotted him a few times. Yeah. So I will have to end up asking you guys about the rest of the plot at some point when we get to the plot. But my question that I have for you guys, and this might be a little bit of a tangent because obviously we're still going on about the things like development of the game and things like that. But Gordon Freeman, so obviously silent protagonist. Mm-hmm. Do you, throughout the Half-Life series, because like I said, this is the only one I've played, do you end up learning more about him and stuff? Because I feel like Gordon Freeman's such an iconic character, but considering you don't see him and you get no personality from him and no speech from him or anything like that, it's kind of given to you in a way of you are him.
Not really.
Like,
No,
Do
not
you get
really.
more? Because it's interesting that he's so iconic if you don't.
Well, he's iconic because he is the one who sort of put an end to the Black Mesa incident. So he became this icon of resistance, and he just disappeared. And then he came back for the beginning of 2, I don't remember how many years later it is, but everybody knew who Gordon Freeman was. And they said, look, he was the hero of Black Mesa. So if anybody can save us from what's going on now, it's going to be him.
Okay, so he's becomes iconic in the games, which makes him
Simply
more
because
iconic
of
in
what
the-
he accomplished in the first game.
Is it a little bit like when you're playing as Raiden in MGS2 and you get this, because you're not playing as Snake, you get this kind of almost glorified history of Solid Snake. Even though it's not glorified what you get of Solid Snake, it's a little similar to that. It becomes more iconic because of that, because you see...
Yeah.
Is it kind of that sort of thing?
No, he does genuinely save the day, and then, well, spoilers for the end, I guess, but he gets put into stasis by the G-Man.
So he's Master Chief.
This leads into the start of Half-Life 2, where he's been in stasis for years, and then the G-Man wakes him up.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's been so long since I played Half-Life 2.
Wake up and smell the ashes, Mr. Freeman.
Yeah.
So essentially, the overarching plot of this game is that you are in the lab, you push something into something else, and a bunch of aliens infest the lab, and you have to escape.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. That is it. Yeah. Disaster at Black Mesa facility.
You saw a nice
and you have to-
crowbar. Crack on.
The Black Mesa facility is very reminiscent of the Los Alamos lab and Area 51. So kind of a little homage to that.
Yes. I remember reading that if you get a job at Valve, they give every new employee a crowbar.
Oh,
It's-
speaking of the crowbar, that is not in Half-Life Alyx, and it was really interesting to read.
Oh.
It was really interesting to read why they didn't. They said this is an iconic piece of gaming. Like it is gaming iconography right there, where everybody knows what that crowbar is, so it has to be in Alyx. And
Yeah, absolutely.
it's not.
Is it not?
Because they couldn't control the damn thing. Because it had to
Neither
be.
can Gordon.
It had to
when
be.
when he's using that fucking crowbar, it's like he's holding an eel that he's not quite fond of. And he's just like...
they changed it in Black Mesa. It's way easier to kill head crabs with the crowbar in Black Mesa, because in Half-Life it is pretty... it's pretty tough. It's pretty wild.
But they said that in order for the crowbar to exist, it had to be a physical, tangible object that you'd put behind you or it'd be somewhere else, and it had to exist, and it kept getting hooked on things, and just the physics of it kept it from actually being in the game. So it is not.
Surely they've got it in as a cameo somewhere.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, but you're like an hour in.
Yeah, I hope they'd put it
I'm
maybe
like 4
behind some
hours in.
glass that you can't break or something.
Yeah.
You know, like as a...
But you
Break
don't
this
play
for
as Gordon
emergency.
Freeman in this one, so
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I suppose they could get around it like that.
yeah.
Maybe that was why they used Alex instead of Gordon. In that entire reason. So you
Can't
could
get the crowbar. Scrap the whole script. We're going to go with Alex.
Yeah. But that is
Interesting, it's such an
essentially
iconic
the basis
weapon,
of it.
isn't it?
Yeah.
What's truly great about this game for me is the way the world is put together. Because, like you say, it's one cohesive whole where you kind of never pulls you away from being Gordon, and you go through all these different environments, lots of different things going on with like these interconnecting, like there's a lot of verticality to it. And or like you might 1 minute be going through an air vent underground, or you might be walking up these tanks and have to swim through water and stuff, and it feels really well put together.
Or stuck in a garbage disposal. Or something.
That was panicking right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough, that bit.
It was. I had to restart it a couple of times.
Going through the game, I found this really got quite difficult as you get towards, I think it was the surface tension chapter, where the army starts coming in, and it got really tough from there, both from a shooting perspective and the fact that it introduced more and more intricate platforming as you went forward.
The thing I don't
Thank
understand
God for quick saves, that's all I'm saying.
The thing I don't understand in regard to the platforming is that you have to rely so heavily on the jump crouch just to
What's
get
that about?
just
What
to
is
get up.
that
Like,
about?
why didn't you just make the jump like 10% higher? Because if you want to
Yeah.
get up on top of a standard crate, you can't. You have to find a half crate to jump on that to jump on the big crate.
The jump crouch is a big deal. It was a big deal in all of the mods as well. It just became a thing that it's completely natural to me. But if I really think back, I'm like, yeah, why was there a thing where you hit crouch and then jump?
Well, and
I
that
guess-
carried over into Halo as well.
Yeah,
But that
Did
was
it?
just
I
to
didn't
get
know
up to
that.
higher spots. Like,
But why would crouching in midair make you go higher?
because it pulls your legs up.
Because you're bending your legs, I guess, is the idea, right?
But then
Yeah.
you tip over backwards because you've got no center of gravity.
All right,
Well,
parkour,
on the
Curtis.
PS2 version, on its default was auto jump crouch,
Oh,
so
that
I
would
never
be
had to
nice.
worry about that. And
yes.
thank God, because I changed just about all of the default controls on this, because the default controls for fucking Half-Life on the PS2 are fucking mental. Like, they had jump as L1 and then the crouch as L2.
Brilliant. You're jumping a lot in this game, and L1 is not where you want your finger to be
No,
for jumping.
And like, obviously this is a bit of an old school thing. A lot of old games were like this. They had like primary fire as R1 and secondary fire as R2. So obviously I swapped those round.
Oh, yeah.
But just like having those two, like obviously I changed jump to X. I kept crouch as L2 because you told me that I might have to, use it in relation to the jump. So that made sense to have it there. But yeah, I changed everything around on these controls because it was just.
I actually think I
mental.
would have preferred to have L1 be jump because you're not taking your fingers off of the joysticks at all while you're jumping.
I see.
You can still kind of
because
manipulate
you-
your view and your movement.
Yeah, which is important, but especially when you're getting, yeah.
I know that I did that in
remember-
Skyrim or one of the Elder Scrolls games. I kept it as one of the bumpers.
I still am not amazing at ladders in this game.
No.
I want to talk about this in general, right? Because ladders in old FPSs are my old enemy. I hate them. They're always so janky, and you don't know whether you're going to go up, whether you're going to go down, whether you're going to just launch yourself off the top of it and die.
Yeah,
it's just especially going
Not a
down.
single one of them
especially
sings
going
Snake
down.
Eater.
yeah, it happened to be a lot, man.
Trying to go
Too many
down a
times.
ladder is the worst, though. That
Yeah, that's
resulted
what-
in a lot of unnecessary death.
There's one bit
Yes.
with a really huge ladder where I just literally fell down this hole, pressed E at the last minute, and grabbed hold of the ladder.
Oh, nice.
But there was many a time I fell to my death.
How did you find the transition from controller to mouse and keyboard? Dan?
Let me pull
Oh,
up
here
a
we-
quote
here we-
from
here
Dan
we go.
Curtis on this.
I mean, he's right here, but let's quote him.
I gotta
Go
find
on,
it.
then, you feckin' arsehole.
No, I'll let you say it. Go ahead.
No, so I started this week. I was playing on Steam, but I tried to link it up by playing it on my TV with a DualShock 4, and it worked for a while, and then it
So you
decided,
could stretch it, I bet.
yeah. And then after that, after I booted up my second time of playing it, it decided, no, it doesn't want to work anymore. So I was like, well, I can't be arsed setting this up. So I put my laptop down on the desk, and I plugged in a mouse, and I played it with the keyboard, and it was a lot better.
His exact words were, actually loads better.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Thank you, Dan.
No,
was
it
a
was all
little-
about the loading screens, Eric.
In terms of comfort, no, it was
Oh, the
not
game
better.
loads. Oh, damn it. Dan, is that what you meant? The game loads better when you have a mouse plugged in versus a controller?
Yeah. But no, it's particularly when it gets more tricky because
Yeah.
you need that extra precision.
So I
And-
found things to be almost too twitchy in the beginning, so I turned some of the sensitivities down, specifically on the movement. But then I discovered that
Gordon
I wasn't.
runs like he's got a friggin' rocket up his arse.
It runs like a fucking stabbed rat. It's insane.
It's better than like as if he's been running through treacle.
So here's my question. Because on
when
the
was that
PS2
on?
version,
I forget that.
It was on Eternal Darkness.
Oh yeah.
What'd you say, Mike?
on PS2 version, you could like obviously lightly press the stick and he'd move slowly. But you guys were obviously using. I assume you were using WASD.
The
control him?
the old WASD move,
Yeah,
and then
so-
WASD.
well, so on
So can you move him slowly on the PC version
yeah,
or not?
shift is if you hold shift, that's walk.
Oh, I didn't know.
Right, okay.
So
But on Black Mesa, it was different. It was the standard run, and if you held shift, you sprinted, and you actually saw the hands do this at the bottom of the screen.
So what threw me
Like
off though is when I turned his moving sensitivity down, I wasn't able to clear some of the jumps in the game because a lot of those gaps are just close enough to be able to catch. If you jump at the last minute, you'll just barely catch the other end of it. So I had to turn it back up.
Well,
and
there's
just
a
get
bit
used to
because
it.
I played there is a training section on the PS2 version. I don't know if it exists in the original, but I went through the training section and it makes you do everything like at least once to make sure you get it. And when it was training you in the jumps, it specifically has one of those jumps where you have to wait until you're on the very edge to get the jump. And it even tells you like, wait until it do you a few jumps. And then on this one, it'd be like, this time, wait until the edge. And you physically cannot get across that jump until you are literally
Mike,
on the
does
precipice
the
of it.
PS2 version have quick saves and quick loads?
Yes, you can manually quick save.
I was going to say, because you really need that later on.
F6, F7 got their workout in this game.
Yeah, it was quite funny actually because when I was doing some, I can't remember what I was looking for. I was looking for something online just as I started playing this, and something to do with Half-Life that wasn't Half-Life porn, and there was quite a few people who got confused about the save system, even though it's actually it explains it a lot on screen. I guess if Eric had played this, he probably wouldn't have understood. But anyway,
Fucking lost.
when you use the quick save feature, it specifically tells you on the quick save, if you turn off your console, this will not save here. This quick save is specifically just for this. Because if you want to save this game, you have to manually go into the main. So you pause it, then there's a thing that says main menu. Go into the main menu, then actually save to save your game to be able to turn your console off. The quick save and quick load is specifically just for that current session.
It's like a RAM save.
But yeah,
It's not that way on the
used that a
PC
lot.
version.
Well, I didn't play the PC version.
I knew you didn't, but it's interesting that it's different. Snarky little git.
But my point that I got up to was the on a rail section where all the trains and everything.
Oh yeah, God, it's a tough
Which
one.
the amount of times I fell off the track and got electrocuted because for some reason on the PS2 version, obviously when you press the action button to be quote unquote connected to the control of the train, the little bars to make it go faster and everything, there were so many points on the PS2 version where like that little thing would still be there and I'd try to slow down, so I'd press down for it to go down the bars, and for some reason Gordon would just sprint backwards and come off the train because for some reason it sort of disconnected myself from it even though I could see it.
So every time you're connected to it, it should lock you there until you've hit whatever the use key is again on
Nope.
PS2.
Not
Not on the
PC.
PS2 version.
Wow.
On PC, if you use it and then as soon as you hit A or D or S, it moves you off of it. So I can relate to that
Does
as well.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, because on the Black Mesa, they would lock you in until you hit E again.
I'm sure it locked
Well, we
it-
weren't
I'm
playing
sure
the
it
Black
locked me
Mesa
in.
version.
I'm sorry.
Did not lock me in.
But no, I do remember that now because on rail was one of those levels that was a bit
shit.
frustrating, to be honest. Yeah.
But the main reason why this part of the game ended for me, I did a lot of the train puzzle and everything and started getting through. And the point where this game sort of ended for me that I was getting frustrated at was where the military guys, you're in close quarters there with them.
Oh, yeah.
They started being armed with shotguns.
Yes.
And my inexperience with first-person shooters really fucking like just shined here. And I
Yeah.
was just dying and dying and dying.
That's
But I really struggled as well, Mike, because they do so much damage.
They
It's
didn't give a shit.
ridiculous.
Oh, I'm glad I'm not the only
Look,
one who
man, they've
struggled
got to
then.
cover up
That's
the
good to hear.
incident. Marines have been sent in to cover up the incident, so they got to take you out. You're the only one left.
I'd say I probably spent about 80% of this game with about 30 or less health.
Yeah,
Because you've got
get to-
100 health. But honestly, I was just always nearly dead.
You wanted to do a good old sweep for armor every now and again.
Yeah.
Like, I forget. Yeah, so yeah,
But
obviously
there wasn't always some available. That was the point.
Yeah,
A lot of
I was
secrets,
struggling
though,
for
I noticed in
ammo
this
as well
game.
sometimes as well.
Really, I never struggled for ammo, but
Me neither.
what I was saying about how there's quite a lot of secrets in this game, I was finding a lot of like secret little cubby holes and things like that seem to just give me tons of ammo. I mean, like the pistol alone, before I even got any other gun, I just hundreds of bullets.
Yeah, I
This is
did,
even
but
before
when
it
you go
counts.
later on, wow, you use a lot of them.
Yeah, and obviously in Black Mesa they introduced you can break crates open with the crowbar. Like they had more stuff to be like interact with and like
You can do that on this
find
one. You do
new
that on the
ideas.
You can
original.
do that in the original.
Yeah, but they had other areas that you could jump to. Like they had vents that would lead into other rooms with like crates, like these larger crates that would also contain a lot of those. I forget what they're called. They're like the armor kind of thing. I forget what they're called. It's not really armor.
battery
It's like-
packs?
Power cells
Yeah, the
or
battery
battery
packs.
packs?
But you could also pick up stuff and chuck it, like pick up barrels and random bits of wood and stuff and chuck them, which was
So they've
useful.
used the physics system from Half-Life 2.
Exactly, yeah. So you could do things like chuck barrels at the barnacles, and they would confuse you for a barrel instead, and try and eat that, which I think you could do in Half-Life 2.
You can.
But one of the things that really, one of the things I remember about on the rail that really troubled me was sometimes while you're going along, if you go too quickly and don't observe your surroundings properly, there's every now and again a barnacle just hanging from the.
And he's gone.
Oh, I'm back. every now and again, there's a on a rail, there's a barnacle hanging from the ceiling.
Tell us about what you feel about the barnacles, Tom.
So, when I first played Half-Life, I couldn't get past the second or third chapter. I just couldn't do it. And so I just played all the mods. And so I never actually finished the single player Half-Life until, I don't know, like 10 years ago or something. But bear in mind, I had it since release. So I didn't really touch it for a long time because it turns out that I absolutely definitely have a phobia of the barnacle enemy in this game. I just cannot. I find it very hard to deal with. Whenever I'd see one, I would get shivers all down me. I'd get all like cold and weird. Like it just really freaked me out every time I saw them, because it's a really cool enemy, and the design is fantastic, and also they serve a great purpose at slowing the game down, because you're running around just shooting everything and jumping around. But then as soon as you see go into a room full of barnacles, which is typically going to be like a damp, dark environment, which is where they usually are. As soon as you see all those like tongues just hanging down from the ceiling, I just stop immediately and freeze. And I have to look around and I have to kill every single one and just walk really slowly and aiming up at the ceiling and just shoot and use every bullet I have to kill them, because I just cannot deal with it.
So
every time I
They
run around the
freak
corner,
me out
and
as well a bit, Tom, to be honest, but not as much as you. But I don't like them either. I think they're really creepy.
for context,
So
if you don't know what they are these. They look exactly like a barnacle on the bottom of a boat that hang from a ceiling, and they have a long tongue that hangs down, and anything that touches it, then they pull that up and eat it.
And the thing with Half-Life, like you're always able to at least look around, even if you're completely immobilized. And this is one of those situations, and it's just so genius the way it's done, because sometimes you can be firing and your attention can be on someone else, another enemy, and you're walking backwards perhaps to try and give yourself some space between you and the other character, and all of a sudden your view starts changing and you're like, why am I floating? And then you look up and there's just this barnacle mouth just basically
Slowly
sucking you up.
pulling you up.
And it's the sound. It's actually mainly the sound. Like with horror for me, it's mainly sound design that sticks in my head and it just loops over in my mind and I can't get it out. And with the barnacles, whenever they manage to grab you, there's like this elastic twang and the sound of like stretched plastic. It's almost like that's
And like slurping
sound they've
spaghetti.
gone with. Yeah, it's something that triggers something in my head that is just, it's just terrifying. It really is. I actually looked this up and I was talking to you guys about it recently. that there is a Steam group dedicated to people who are like have a phobia of the barnacle in Half-Life, to the point where when I played Half-Life 2 back in 2004 or 5, there is a command that you can run in the console to remove all barnacle models. And I had to do that every time I started the game.
So it made the game easier.
Yeah, I mean, it removed one type of enemy, but yeah, it made the game easier, I'm sure. But geez, I just
Don't worry, Tom. We won't give you shit. I wouldn't dream of giving anyone shit about playing an easy version of a game on the show ever.
You would not like the barnacles in Alex. Then they are so hyper realistic.
Yeah, and it sucks, man, because like I adore this series, but I can't get around that. It seems all these years later, I still can't play even the original. And I actually kind of didn't do myself a favor by playing the remake in a way, because they looked pretty good in that compared to the stretch textures of the original. But hey ho, it's awesome design. I appreciate it. If something can make you feel that way, it's doing something right.
Oh, it is a terrifying enemy, despite not really doing anything. It's just
that's
there.
Kind of what makes it scarier. It doesn't do anything. It just sits and waits, and I'm like, oh, that's so creepy.
Yeah, and sometimes you can't really see him because the tongue will blend in with like a beam within the room or something.
Yes,
it's very clever design. That's very clever
because sometimes you're in like an elevator shaft which has naturally like cables running either side, and there might be a couple barnacles, and you confuse it for like a rope or a cable. It's very smart.
I've lost a few security guards to the barnacles, because you can have security guards chase you or run around with you, and they turn around and suddenly they're not there, and then I just see this shower of guts come down from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah,
sucks to
if
be
it
you.
makes you feel better, apparently they snap your neck to kill you before they eat you. I looked this up.
Oh, well, that's refreshing.
When you kill them, they actually release their guts and the skulls of anyone they.
Well, and sometimes there's goodies in there.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, sometimes
I
ammunition.
think on Half-Life 2 there is, but not on Half-Life 1.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I did start Half-Life 2 after this.
Because if you do Half-Life 2, they will yank something up like a barrel, but they will realize that it's not edible and like chuck it away eventually, which is quite a cool touch as well.
Same with Black Mesa, yeah.
Unless it's the exploding barrel.
Yeah, you can give them the exploding barrel, they carry it up and you shoot that. That's always good fun.
I'll just wait until it's yanked up, then shoot it, and then boom.
Yeah.
It's cool stuff. There is some really cool enemies in Half-Life, though, I thought, overall.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, the head crab obviously is famous.
I love head crabs.
Absolutely famous enemy, which is still wildly unpredictable and hard to deal with. Like, it's kind of amazing. Like, the AI isn't, it's an old game, so it's not going to be amazing. But still, they're still very unpredictable. Like, they'll be moving very slowly. You think you might have killed them all, but there's one just creeping around on the wall, and all of a sudden it will jump at you. They're so fucking annoying sometimes.
Yeah, it's best to deal with them from a distance, because then they kind of don't realize you're there and walk very slowly.
Yes,
but not always possible, because sometimes they just leap out of a vent.
Yeah, but in later series, people make them pets. They kind of they defang them.
Oh.
And they also turn the into the head crab zombies as well on certain people.
Oh yeah, yep. So that's why it's always worth aiming for the head.
These enemies, because obviously there's quite a few that I didn't see until later on. They're quite grisly looking, aren't they?
I think my least favorite one was the ichthyosaur, because there's only one type of weapon, and you had to essentially the best way to get him to kill him was to wait till he was swimming towards you, and you had to have the bolt gun. And it would take 5 bolts, which is exactly how many you had in your clip. I
just ran away from them because they were too quick for the crossbow, I thought.
Oh god, I remember those. Yeah.
This Gonarch?
This is the testicle on legs, which is one of the last bosses.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, you say that. From obviously the little bits and bobs I usually try and find, a Gonarch was born when one of the developers asked, "Why don't we put a giant testicle on a 20-foot tall armored spider?"
Done.
Well, they succeeded.
Oh, fuck the tentacles. Don't even get me started about the tentacles. Fuck those things. Yeah. They were...
Just have to be quiet.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that initially,
Really?
Admittedly, I didn't either, but there
I
is a
didn't
guy
notice
literally
either.
just beforehand that going, shh, it can hear us, which I didn't
killed
twig
him.
on with straight away.
They are annoying.
Was he the guy that I sent you guys videos of me handing him packages that would explode?
No? I don't even remember this video.
I remember that.
Oh yeah,
His
Tom,
message.
Tom. That's where I sent Tom that video, and he's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" I was handing the guy grenades and all that fun stuff.
My least favorite enemy out of them all is the alien grunt.
The alien grunt, the one that shoots
These-
the electricity.
No, the really big aliens.
Oh, the really
Oh.
like burly ones.
I don't know. I didn't think
they-
they were that tough. Their
Total-
weapon, the hive
total
hand, was
bullet
a pain in the
sponges.
ass.
They have a lot of armor.
Yeah.
Like
And
it took a lot of shotgun shells to take one down.
Give them hail.
also, the ridiculously quick assassin soldier people.
Fuck those things. Where did they come from? They were in like
they-
three parts of the game. It just pissed me off.
If you thought Gordon had a rocket up his ass, they've got 3 because they are friggin' quick.
Yeah, but if you were lucky enough to get them with one shot of the Magnum, they were toast. I freaking
That was
love
true for
that
most
gun.
things. The Magnum was great.
The Magnum was such a cool gun.
It just had this intense sound to it. Like, that's a gun.
Yeah, I pretty much exclusively use the M4 towards the end, from the mid game to the end, the M4A1.
Oh yeah.
Is that
I
the
can't-
submachine gun thing?
It's the assault rifle. It's the standard, like it looks like an M16.
Now I've heard this because on certain versions of the game it's an assault rifle, but on my version which I played it was a submachine gun.
Oh,
I don't
Interesting.
remember what mine was. I tell you, back to the enemies for a second. I tell you, the one that actually gave me the most anxiety was the hound eye. The ones that would run around and they'd make that high pitched chirping noise and then fire out that
Oh.
EMP.
oh, the
'Cause
little.
Yeah, they would
round
travel in
dudes?
packs. It's like, fuck, I gotta shoot all of you before one of you fires off the EMP.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing with that as well, Eric, is the damage done by the hound eye's sonic attack increases exponentially depending on the number of the ones like in the pack.
Ugh.
And if the squad leader is killed, the entire squad is weakened.
Yeah, I would just throw a
Jesus.
grenade and run.
Yeah, the shockwave colors range from weakest to strongest as white, sky blue, dark blue, and violet. I found the other thing I was going to say about one of the bosses. Is it the Nihilanth, the last boss?
Yeah.
So the thing here, while in an interview with Valve News Network in February 2008, Grey Newell, son of Gabe, revealed that the final boss of Half-Life, the Nihilanth, represented him as a baby, stating, "The final boss of Half-Life 1, actually, the giant evil baby monster, is supposed to be me. When my mother was in childbirth, they were thinking, what's something really scary? And at the time, having a child seemed to be the most scary thing to everyone."
You must have been a friggin' terrifying baby. Jesus Christ.
Oh, shit.
A couple of things here about unused NPC behavioral scripts. So the Vortigaunt, which I think on this list of enemies I gave you guys is the alien slave.
oh yeah.
There was 2 bits of unused behavioral script on that, which was one which would cause it to flee the battle if it sees the corpses of other ones, and another one where it could resurrect a teammate if it's the kind that witnessed its death. There was another one I had here as well, which had the hound eye that wasn't used, a piece of script that wasn't used. It would have it approach machines or blinking lights and pour at them out of curiosity. Which would have been quite cool, because they are like little dogs, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really fugly ones, but yeah.
Yeah.
They're kind of cute in a
The
way.
gargantua enemy was a bit of an interesting one. They kind of more for set pieces though.
Yeah, until you have to kill one of them on Zen.
No, you didn't. I ran away from it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, the Gargantua, that's the one that's
In the tunnels.
it's hanging around just before on a rail, isn't it?
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you're trying to get the train out. Oh, God, that thing fucking killed me so many times.
Yeah, because as soon as you go near it, it turns around instantly and just fries you.
There's a spot
Yeah,
in
well-
there's a spot in the one you have to fight on Zen where you can just tuck yourself into a cave and chip away at him.
Yeah, that's
Well,
where
I
I waited
accidentally-
for him to walk past, then sprinted past him using the long jump module to get ahead of him. Took a
I
few
accidentally
tries,
killed
but
the
I got
one
there.
where you're trying to power up the train. I accidentally killed the one there because it kept. I accidentally got it to follow me into the bit where you turn the power on.
No, you're supposed to do that.
Yeah, you meant to do that.
Yeah, but I didn't even like. I just ran away from it and didn't get it to follow me at all. It just like ran, and I wasn't expecting it. And then I was like trying to turn the power on, and then suddenly it was there. So I think because you're supposed to let it like track you, aren't you?
Yeah.
I didn't. I just like, oh fuck this, I'm scarfree. So I accidentally got it to follow me into there.
I did the exact same thing, actually, Mike. I didn't know it was following me. And just switched it on, and then it fried. So I was like, okay,
Hazel,
that's
me
great.
and Hazel were watching. Hazel was watching me play it, and we both went, "Ah!" when we realized it was in the same room as us
God damn it.
because it had already killed me so many times. This Nyland thing is fucking hideous, isn't it?
Oh, aye. It's
Oh
probably
my god.
It's a right
So-
annoying boss as well.
Tom, explain, kind of give a 30,000-foot view here of what happens and how you end up on Zen and why
Give
we're
you
there.
12,000.
Okay.
And maybe the extra 17, 18 if
Okay.
you need it.
Okay.
But I mean, that's what happens at the start anyway. When the experiment goes wrong, you are briefly seen a glimpse of Zen, I suppose. Which is that's what's happened with this accident is it's opened another dimension, and that is called Zen. And
another dimension.
and you do end up on Zen. Zen is like the kind of the end game of Half-Life. That is the other world. It's unfortunately notoriously the weakest part of the game. I think it clocks in at about an hour gameplay.
Why is that? As a guy who's not played it,
It's not good.
It's just very disjointed. It feels super rushed. It's just a little bit in the days of games when you get to the end level and suddenly they just chuck every enemy at you that you've ever come across. You know, and Gabe Newell is on record constantly as saying that if he could change anything about Half-Life, he wishes he could go back and redo Zen because they basically had to rush it at that point. So yeah, the well loved and well remembered and part of Half-Life is definitely Black Mesa, which is why in the Black Mesa remake, Zen is 4 times longer, and they completely redid the entire world, and it's gorgeous. I actually, unfortunately, I didn't finish Black Mesa's Zen chapters because they were just so long. But from what I've played, it's really cool.
They do feel real tacked on.
Jesus, yeah, it really doesn't feel like.
Well, it just comes out
it
of
feels like you're
nowhere
playing a
too.
different
Suddenly
game.
you're like, all right, hey, here's this long jump module and jump into this transporter. Oh, okay.
You have to kill
Yeah.
some dude for reasons.
Go kill that giant
but-
baby.
Yeah, because you are basically, obviously, as you're escaping this facility, scientists are trying to help you on your way and get you to where you need to be. Like, get you to the surface is the first part of it. But then we need you to get further along so that our scientists can help transport you to this other dimension, to Zen, to find out what the fuck's going on. And ultimately, defeat Testicle Boss. I'm trying to remember, like, because G-Man makes an appearance at the end, but I can't remember because I didn't finish Black Mesa, so I can't remember what. Obviously, he puts you in stasis, but I can't remember the dialogue.
Yeah, he basically
Prior to
offers
that.
you a job.
Yes.
He says his employers are interested in Gordon, and it all goes all trippy, and you end up like on the train from the start in space. And he says, "I'm going to give you a choice. So you have to choose. I'm either going to give you a job, and you will like do this job, or I will transport you to a battle
I
that you
just
can't
kill
win.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't accept the job and walk out, you will get transported to a battle you can't win, where Gordon is just in front of loads and loads of aliens, and then I think it fades out. But the actual canon thing is that he accepts this job, gets put into stasis, and that's where Half-Life 2 begins.
Yes. Yeah, because you wake up and you're in this dystopian 1984 future alternative reality, right? I remember the
And then
beginning of
some
Half-Life 2 is
creatures named the
epic.
Combine have taken over, and where the hell did they come from?
Yeah. Half-Life 2 is like, I remember when I first played it, it was just really confusing, but hyper compelling.
Yeah.
And it's quite the game.
The G-Man Mike, though, is like this really enigmatic character where he kind of seems to have supernatural powers, but you don't actually know anything about him. Even if you've played through Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2, Episode 1 and Episode 2, you generally don't know much about him. He kind of just pops up at random points, and he has this kind of weird powers, and he always talks about his employers and talks in a really weird, disjointed way, and he's a really bizarre individual.
But you only ever really see him if you're looking in the distance. You'll just see this random dude standing up on a catwalk somewhere or behind a door, and
he's basically observing Gordon as a means to recruit him for his employers, who we don't know who they are.
Okay.
Yeah, he's always well dressed.
very got a briefcase.
Yeah.
He's a freaky little bastard.
Dan, how much did you struggle with Nihilinth at the end?
Very much so.
I hated. First of all, just getting into. So when you drop into Zen, they put you on this platform way up in the sky, and you have to get down to the ground by jumping on other platforms that are rotating around. And you have, I don't remember the names of the enemies, but they're like these floating devil fairies that fire.
Alien controllers.
Yeah, they fire flaming balls at you that cause a ton of damage. But you have to be very conscious because the fall damage in this game is not forgiving in the least bit. You step off a curb wrong and you die. So you have to be very careful with how far you're falling. There's a entirely different level of gravity here. So you jump higher, you can float, you can fall further. So everything that you've learned about how far you can fall up until now is gone, and you just kind of have to make your way down. But you eventually get to the giant baby boss, and it crests into a level of unforgivingly unfair, and it just becomes I'm going to save state because I hit you. It takes place in this giant circular room with the trampoline nipples on the floor that'll shoot you up into the sky. Some of them shoot you up higher than others. There's
Best
one
kind of nipples.
Yeah, there's one that if you don't land on something higher, it actually throws you up high enough where when you fall, you will die. But he will fire out green orbs that will transport you into one of 3 rooms. And those rooms are filled with enemies, but they're also filled with health and ammunition. So you do kind of have to go into those. But the only time you can actually attack him is when his brain opens up. But first of all, there are 3 crystals around the room that you need to destroy. So you have to destroy those while avoiding his almost instant kill laser attacks. And once you have all of those crystals down, then you have to launch yourself up into the sky. And there's several different ways you can attack him. And I utilized the land inside of his head method, where when his brain is exposed, you can land next to his brain and just unload on it. And I did that for probably 2 or 3 rounds of it. And then afterwards, I was just chucking satchels at him to get him to die. But I probably spent a good 45 minutes trying to beat this guy.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with mine, so I think you're slightly wrong there. I think you have to kill, so you have to destroy the crystals, and then you can shoot him, and that makes him open up his head. So, and then once his head's open, you have to then launch yourself into it, and apparently 1 rocket will kill it, but whenever I would shoot the rockets, they would just somehow blow up in my face every time.
You know, there are 2
So I couldn't
methods
do
to the
that.
rockets, though. You could turn the laser off. If the laser was on, it would
I didn't know
the
that.
rocket would track where you're pointing.
All right, that would help.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know what happened. I tried and tried and tried for ages to launch myself up and hit him in the head with all the different explosives and stuff. And then he just died. Like, I didn't shoot him or anything, and he just started shooting out lightning and dying. I was like,
Jesus.
well, okay, that's fine. I'm done.
Yeah, extremely frustrating boss.
And I managed to quick save with about 6 health left, so I had to be incredibly careful.
Yeah, hearing you guys talking about it now, I remember how brutal that last boss is and how painful it is for that to be the end of such a otherwise.
Well, Gonark wasn't much easier either. The 3 stages of the testicle spider. Fortunately, there was the last phase of it you could cheese. So when she goes through the cave and then there's that slope that's supposed to fling you down onto the web next to her, if you hold back like if you're walking towards the slope and right as the slope grabs you, if you start holding back, you'll stop right at the edge before you drop off, and you can just huck grenades and satchels down there and kill her. Or him. I mean, it's a giant testicle, so...
I mean, I was going to say her with a massive testicle would be quite rare, wouldn't it?
I like how they even named it to sound like a testicle.
Yeah.
So good.
You want to see me go, Knox?
Apparently, it's the final phase of a head crab's life cycle.
Oh,
Poor
okay.
bastards. Probably better off dying before they get that far.
Oh, shit.
Because it spawns weird baby head crabs.
Its creatures, the name was originally Big Mama. Its model is also named big_mom.mdl.
I'm just looking at footage of the Nihilith fight now, and man, this thing is even more ugly when you actually see it in motion.
It's not fun.
You know what? I slated because this is original graphics Half-Life that I'm looking at here, and I said before the PS2 version of this doesn't look good, and obviously Eric did mention earlier that apparently it was made to look better. Like the PS2 version actually looks pretty good compared to this.
Yeah, the PC
So I take
version's
it back.
pretty rough.
I never played the PS2 version, but it is considered a pretty solid port.
I think those, you quite often get those moments where it just comes up saying loading as you go through corridors.
Yeah.
I think they're a bit longer on the PS2. There were a few times. I mean, I thought my version was broken. I ended up sending you guys that video, didn't I? Where like not long after the beginning, I actually got stuck on one of those loading screens, and my PS2 was just clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking. I did take it out and clean the disc, and that seemed to help. I managed to get up to where I got to, but yeah, some of those loading were they were a bit long.
Mike, I would say to you, obviously, check up what happens on Half-Life 1, but by all means, consider playing Half-Life 2 because it is a seminal piece of gaming history and it is superior in every way to this game. While this laid the groundations for a fantastic series, Half-Life 2 and its episodes are where it's
And
at.
you've got the PC to play it now.
I think the orange box is actually up-resed on 1X, so...
Fantastic value, that package.
Yeah, that is a really good.
That was my introduction to this series, and I'm so glad I bought it. I kind of just found it on the cheap in game, not really knowing much about it, and bought it. And then before I knew it, I was loving Half-Life 2 and then loving Portal and all these different
I used to
games.
own the orange box of PS3. It was back way before I sold all my consoles before going traveling with my ex. And I bought it specifically to play Portal 1 because I played Portal 2 and loved it, and I specifically bought it for the original and never dipped into Half-Life 2, to be honest. But we'll inevitably play Half-Life 2 for the show, won't we? So.
Oh yeah, and I'll remove all the barnacles. I actually weirdly have never played Portal or Portal 2.
Oh my
Really?
God.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm adding that to the list. Jesus Christ, Tom.
No kidding.
You would love Portal, Tom.
Really? I don't think I have it. I should really.
It's always cheap on Steam.
It is. I should set a wish list alert because
You can beat the original in a couple of hours as well.
yeah, it's a short one.
Short but splendid.
And then Portal 2 is just even better. It's so good.
Yeah. Portal 2 is incredible.
I still say the song at the end is better from Portal 1, though.
Which is the one that has Stephen Merchant voices?
Second one.
The second one.
2. What you should do is get Portal 2, then play through the co-op with Eric and film it so I can laugh.
Yes, the co-op is so good.
I wonder how Eric would undermine you in Portal.
God, I can't even imagine.
No, because undermining him would also undermine myself too, so.
Oh no, self-consequence.
I know.
So we give in hearty pip-pips all round for Half-Life 1?
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
I
you
enjoyed
need to
what I
play
played
it.
this.
Yeah.
I've got some bits and bobs here if you want to hear them.
Just give me the bits. I can do without the bobs.
It was the highest selling first person shooter of all time up until Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 in 2011. So it was for 13 years it was the highest selling first person shooter of all time.
Modern Warfare 3 isn't even very good.
Yeah. It was fine, but yeah.
Inside the files of the game, there's an extended line from the G-Man character if you choose not to join him. He says the identical Well, it looks like we won't be working together. No regrets, Mr. Freeman, but goes on to comment there being a few survivors of your personal Holocaust who would like to meet the man responsible for the total annihilation of their race.
Jesus.
Yeah. That's about the Black Mesa. It was the first game to have the CD key copy protection system for online play, which I didn't realize. I've got a few other little bits here. The names on the lockers in the bathroom at the beginning are names of people who worked on the games. The Black Mesa PA system is composed of single words instead of entire lines of dialogue. This allows dynamic creation of PA messages by the level designers. Most of these single words are not used in the game proper, but were created so that the independent level designers could make realistic sounding PA messages instead of relying on default ones. Which I never noticed at all. That's about the thing. That's about the Dreamcast version. And I've got just a couple more here. There is the gluon gun. Am I pronouncing that right? Entity name in the game script is called Weapon_Egon, which is a reference to Egon Spengler from Ghostbusters because the gun resembles a proton pack from Ghostbusters, which I quite like. The premise of the game was inspired by the Stephen King book The Mist, which is about a slew of monsters ravaging a city after a test in a secret military base goes
Jesus,
awry.
the end of that movie is gut-wrenching.
Oh yeah, Christ, yeah. The code name for the project Quiver is a reference to the name of the military base in The Mist called Arrowhead, which is kind of cool. And then, Gordon Freeman's original design was nicknamed Ivan the Space Biker. His beard and futuristic suit are what got him his name. And let me send you this fucking horrific image of an early design of his, because this is terrifying. There you go. Have a little look at that.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
And
not quite the iconic character we all know and love.
Speaking of terrifying, this is the last one I've got for you. An unused enemy named Mr. Friendly can be found in Half-Life's data. According to the book Half-Life 2 Raising the Bar, Mr. Friendly's attacks included knocking Gordon's weapons out of his hand, knocking off his glasses, which would make the screen go blurry, and even raping the player. It was created by Ted Bachman, and the design was because Ted decided to go with, and Ted, quote, decided to go with something that elicits a homophobic response, end quote.
Interesting.
And let me show you this, because this is
I wonder
also
why
terrifying.
that got pulled.
Yeah, me too. But let me send you this as well. This is
Mr. Friendly.
an early design for Mr. Friendly.
Whoa! He is a butthole with legs.
Yeah.
It's the best
Jesus.
kind of butthole.
Yeah. That's all I've got.
Mr. Friendly.
Very nice, Michael. Thank you.
Interesting. Thank you.
That's all right. I always try and come in with the hard facts.
It's right in the name.
No, it's what, Half-Life?
Factory sealed.
Yeah, I know. Okay, yeah, I'm being silly. You know me. Did I just hear a child scream in the background, Eric?
Yeah, they're in the bathtub.
All right, okay.
Yeah. Anything else we want to share about Half-Life before we move on?
Go ahead and play it if you haven't already.
Do yourself a
Hearty pip
favor.
pip. I enjoyed what I played of this. I'm surprised because, as I say, I am not really a fan of first-person shooters. And although I did enjoy what I played of this when I was a teenager, obviously I stopped playing it for a reason. I don't know what that was, but yeah, I enjoyed this. Jolly good show.
Jolly good.
We don't have any emails, but we do have some Facebook comments. Facebook.com/group/Factory Sealed Podcast. First comment comes from Hesley. He says, "Hey guys, I got 2 questions. It's been 201 episodes. I've heard you guys talk about it from time to time, but never covered it for an episode. Do you ever consider covering a fighting game? Granted, there is not much to talk about, so I was thinking cover a generation, Tekken 1 through 3, Mortal Kombat 1 through 3, Street Fighter 2 or 0. I'd love to hear your thoughts. 2, what are each of the Factory Sealed crew favorite foods? Something that trumps all other food. For me, it's soup. I don't know why, but I love soup. As usual, guys, keep up the good work. P.S. Half-Life is revolutionary for its time, but that game did not age well. After Chapter 12, I can't go on much longer."
I think if we were to do a fighting game, we'd have to choose a choose really iconic, like 3 really iconic games, and maybe do one of those like comparison shows we do. Like you guys did with the racing,
like Tekken, Mortal Kombat, and Street Fighter, or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good shout.
like
I like that.
That's a good one.
Add
I like
that to the list.
They are hard to cover because there's only so much.
Mash
you
the
can say about them.
buttons. Hope you get a combo. Babality.
Nah, man, Tekken 3's got Tekken Force and Tekken Ball mode and Gon and everything. It's
Tekken
great,
4's
man.
so good.
Loads to talk about.
Bye, Tom. Hi, Tom.
Yeah, I think that's the only way we could do it. I think, or like Hesley said, maybe do a series.
We could do Air
But
Guys.
again-
That's a great fighting game with a ton of mini games.
Tekken Force was good. It was like Streets of Rage,
But really janky.
but yeah, quite janky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bouncer.
You
that
had to
was
use
a
like
good
the
one.
side. You had to use the side step from Tekken, like pressing up twice to go up. And
Yes. I remember that.
Favorite food, like for me, I'd love a really It's interesting you say this actually, because I really fucking love a good pizza, which I know Tom hates. I've like just really good pizza. I love. But the weird thing is, I had pizza yesterday. Admittedly, it was Domino's, and I said to Hazel this morning, I was like, I think I've gone off pizza. That just
Nope, never.
didn't wow me.
No,
Just
I like
didn't
pizza.
wow me. So I don't know.
I would go. I've got a few things here for like a main entree. I like tacos. I can never go wrong with tacos.
I like
tacos
stress,
overrated.
I like caffeine, and I wash it down with Mr. Pip.
And a bunch of.
That's what I
And
like.
I got to make sure that I'm real stressed while I'm eating it. Put a gun to my head. That's the best way for me to have dinner. I guess it's like snacky stuff. I love chips and salsa. Oh man, I could eat that all the. Like you start taking different flavors of chips and dipping it in salsa, like just basic tortilla chips. Yeah, fine, but like you start dipping Cool Ranch Doritos. Oh man, you know what the best is? Salsa Verde Doritos into straight sour cream.
It's getting weird now, but yeah.
But then if I want just like a basic, just somewhat healthy snack, I could eat a whole damn watermelon in one sitting.
Oh, fair enough.
I love
really?
watermelon. Gives me
can't
butt
stand
tea, but I
watermelon.
love it.
I would say my favorite cuisine is definitely Japanese. I like chicken
nice.
katsu curries and sushi and ramen. I can eat that stuff all day. Snack wise, I'm absolutely with you on the old chips and dip. That is something that I could eat just mountains of those.
Go straight to my thighs.
So good. Very good. And frozen fruit as well. I eat a lot of frozen fruit. It's very tasty.
You just chomp on it.
Yeah, just like honestly, cut a banana up, chuck it in the freezer, take it out, eat them like snacks. It's just, it's so good, man.
We recently got a dehydrator. Dehydrate the shit out of bananas.
Those are
Love
good.
it.
Those are good.
Love it.
Dried fruit.
I suppose for me, because it's probably the thing I eat the most, is chicken. I friggin' love chicken.
Oh, God,
anything
see,
chicken.
I grew up hating chicken because my stepmom would make one dish, and it was baked chicken and rice with cream of mushroom soup. So she would take chicken breast, put it in a pan, put a bunch of rice on it, and like 4 cans of cream of mushroom soup, and bake the living shit out of it. And it was just dry as all hell. So I always kind of have this mental aversion to chicken. I don't think I've
that's
ever
a-
gone to a
there's a-
restaurant
there's a dish-
and ordered chicken.
There's a dish called a
no.
parmo up here, which is basically breaded chicken with like cheese and bechamel sauce on top. It's just the best.
Chicken parmesan.
I love that so much. And what else do I love? I love a good steak. I like steak.
God, yeah.
Snack wise, honestly, I could just eat cheese. I friggin' love cheese. like Mike, that giant
No wonder
block of
you
cheese
plugged
that
my toilet.
you and Hazel got. And I am an absolute fiend for ice cream.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
Love a good ice cream.
Ever since I first went to Australia when it was hot every day and I was eating it every day. Yeah.
When I went on a cruise when I was 16.
Ben and Jerry's with brownies in and stuff. Oh, just, yes.
I was on a cruise ship when I was 16 and discovered at the back of the ship there was a free ice cream cone machine. I didn't have 2 ice cream cones in my hand. Just always.
Damn.
Damn.
Can I just also, like Hesley mentioned it being 201 episodes, I know I kind of touched on it at the very beginning of the show. Thank you so much for all the kind messages, whether they were written to us or in audio form last week.
Oh yeah, last show was a blast.
Heartstrings.
Yeah, it was good.
Yes, thank you. It was
I've
lovely. to
just
hear.
stopped crying.
Is that because you're ashamed of what you did when Final Fantasy came out?
What am I ashamed of?
Good point. Let's see what else. Sholto says this in regard to Half-Life. One of the first PC games I ever played, just got hooked into it. I remember having a really foreboding atmosphere. Must play it again. And then Jonathan Yasovich. It's coming up to 20 years in September when Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 is released. Who do you think is the best skater out of you four?
Not me. I can't skate for
I
shit.
used to skate, but I wasn't very good.
I was all right.
I would probably say me.
I would say probably you as well. I could skate quite well, but I could never land a frigging kickflip. I tried for years.
I couldn't
I couldn't
ever
do it.
land a kickflip. So if you could land a kickflip, Eric, it's
Oh
easy.
man, I used to do skateboard competitions when I was in middle school. I did one
There
up
you go,
in
then.
in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis.
Yeah, but you can do a competition, but it doesn't mean you get anywhere.
I got 7th place out of like 18 people. It was a pro-am competition. It was pretty good.
Well,
Yeah.
you should have been snapped up. You could have been the next Tony Hawk.
Yeah. Like,
Eric Peterson's weird head skateboarding simulator.
Did you do? Could you do a Christ Air?
I could do, you know when you unlocked Spider-Man on Tony Hawk's 2, and you could do the Spider-Man thing where you yank the board back towards you. I could do that.
Oh, yeah.
I did used to be able to ollie over 4 bricks stacked up. I always remember I could do that.
Oh, well, that's Well, you're
one of the
second best
biggest
then.
things that we would do would be to get people to lay down. Like, how many people can I ollie over? And it's like,
Oh,
I bet you I
God.
can ollie over 6 of you. Lay down, and getting people dumb enough to lay down. I never landed on anybody, but the most I cleared was 6 people laying down.
Wow.
Wow. How fast
Just
were
off
you
the
going?
ground.
You got to be going real fucking fast.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. Yeah, straight off the ground.
Oh, fair play, man.
Eric
Have you got any
Wayne.
videos?
I don't know. Some old VHSs.
Oh, please. Please.
We did see one.
You
I
did
do
see
remember
one
you
from
sent
my
us
very
one.
early days. My very
Those little
early
shady days.
Yeah.
Anything from Eric's childhood just makes me smile because it's just hilarious.
Yeah. Funny guy.
Let us not forget that picture of you with the ginger.
Form an orderly queue. I do have a picture of me somewhere skateboarding, and I had purple hair for some reason.
Why not?
Excellent.
Yeah.
You're only young once.
Aren't you ever? Okay, so coming up next, we have provided Tom and I are actually able to get our copies. Our next show is just going to be a Final Fantasy VII extravaganza, so we are not going to actually play
Expect
anything.
splurging.
Yeah, and we don't really have our schedule kind of hammered out after that, so we will tell you next show what we're going to be playing following that.
Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
For our questions post, maybe we'll get you guys to send us some of your Final Fantasy VII memories and stuff. Might be a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like
Nice.
it. Remind me when I do the inevitable Eric's head edit of Final Fantasy VII.
Just
put it
don't do
on.
the same one you did for the Final Fantasy VII show before.
Just put it on Barrett.
Oh God, no.
Put it on, you know that image of Genova where you see the tit with the eye? Like, just put his head where, like, the eye is on Genova's tit.
Oh, no.
or you know the, you know when, like, you see Genova's head in, like, the helmet? Put it inside that.
I don't doubt that
I
Dan
will
will
tr-
come up
I
with
will
something
try my best.
horrifying.
I will mock up a few options. This week's Gordon Freeman was a particular highlight, I've felt.
I looked
That's a
good with a
good one.
goatee.
Do.
Do it. Grow it.
Lord Thumb with a goatee.
Come on, why you don't have to face customers? You may as well.
Good. I'm not even showering, so what's it matter? This episode of Factory Sealed brought to you by our wonderful Patreon sponsors, with an extra special thank you to Zach Foley, Santos Lopez, Sarah Irvine, Miles Prower, Jason McGill, Drew Barlow, Peabody, Thomas McGrew, Tori Wolford, Samuel Chun, Phil Gartside, Shannon McIntosh, Richard Cuttress, Chad Schaefer, Jordan Lawfrey, Stephanie, Nicholas Bradley, Wes Rainey, and Jeremy Lucas.